return to Queensland Raceway for the first time in 8 years. Last time we were here, back in 2014, Glenn Allerton and Mike Jones stood on the podium. Can they do the same this weekend? Hello and welcome to Queensland Raceway, situated an hour southwest of Brisbane for the second round of the 2022 My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motul. Last time out at Phillip Island, it was Brian Starring who took out race one and the round victory ahead of Crew Halliday and Mike Jones. Pre-season championship favourite Wayne Maxwell uncharacteristically crashed out of race one before taking victory in race two. YRT would love nothing more than a round victory at their home circuit, but Starring's Gold Coast-based team are gunning for two in a row. Who will come out on top? Let the late breaking begin. Time to check out the championship points, and courtesy of the round victory, Brian Starring leads on 45 points, ahead of Crew Halliday on 38 and Mike Jones on 35. Josh Waters in fourth place on 33, Daniel Falzon in fifth, Glenn Allerton in sixth, Wayne Maxwell back in seventh with 26 points, after CC's in eighth, Matt Walters in ninth, Aidan Wagner rounds out the top 10, but Troy Hurst back there in 13th position. Not often you will see that. The man that qualified on pole position yesterday was Mike Jones on board bike number 46, Brian Starring in second place, and Wayne Maxwell will also start from the front row of the grid. The top three all in 1 minute 7. Time to head down to the pits now with Chris Vermeulen.
Yeah, well, good morning, guys. It's great to be here, and obviously we've got the man of the moment, the pole position man from yesterday, Mike Jones. First of all, we just had warm up, a couple of minutes ago. You just got out of your leather suit. How was the track this morning, and what did it feel like out there? Yeah, it's feeling really good. I mean, obviously this is the first time that we've ridden this weekend at this time of the morning, quite early. So yeah, it feels a little bit different. The wind's changed direction, so really just using that warm up to get a feel for all those kinds of things and adjusting. But I'm sure when it comes time for our races, that's the times that we've been practicing on. So I'll be more accustomed to that track condition. Well, you were pretty quick yesterday afternoon, weren't you? New lap record, pole position. It's all going to plan, right? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, second round with the Yamaha racing team on the YZF R1M, feeling really comfortable, and obviously to be able to set the lap record here, credits that. So feeling strong, feeling comfortable, just really looking forward to getting these two races in today. And I've got to say, we've got a couple of hours to the first race. Any rituals you go through now, or do you get nervous, or do you go and hide, or what's Mike Jones going to be doing for the next little while? Yeah, look, I mean, I'll probably be trying to pass the time by as quickly as I can, so I'm not thinking about it. But when it gets to that sort of 45-minute mark to the race, I'll be trying to get in the zone and ready to go. Well, we wish you all the best. Good luck. You got the best starting position. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks very much, Chris. Look at today's program. Blue Crew OCeania Junior Cup, their second race of the weekend, coming up next. Then followed by Michelin Supersport, their first race of the weekend. That's going to be an absolute cracker. Then it's Dunlop Supersport 300, race 2. Alpinestars Superbike, race 1. We can't wait for that one. And Yamaha Finance R3 Cup, race number 2 as well on today's morning program. In the afternoon, we'll see the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup final race for the weekend. Then it's Michelin Supersport, Dunlop Supersport 300, and rounding out the program, the Alpinestars Superbike, race number 2. Can't wait for that one as well. Then we've also got R3 Cup and the Horsell Australian Sidecars as well. But it's going to be a massive weekend. But Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup is the race that's coming up next. Let's find out more about this year's championship with Kate Peck.
Racing's elite level and end up like MotoGP's Jack Miller, then you need to start young. And in order to do that, you need the right support to get out on track. And that is exactly what the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup is doing right now.
The level that it's grown, it's actually surprised us. I mean, we had this vision of where we were hoping to be after 3 years. We've come through those first 3 years, also being COVID, but the result has been fantastic. 60 kids. Of that, we've had 5 go off over to Asia Talent Cup. We've had 2 go off over to Red Bull Rookies Cup. There's around 9-10 kids over racing in Europe somewhere, doing some sort of amazing experience. And then domestically, if you look at the 300 field, more than 50% of the top runners are OJC kids, and they're filtering through at this amazing rate. And now, at this stage, in our 4th year, we're starting to see some of those kids now filter into the 600 class as well. So the success story couldn't have been any better. We have some real core sponsors that continue to grow with us. FIM Oceania has continued not only to continue to support us, but to grow that investment in the program. We've got real key sponsors like Racondi, who come from the start and have been with us all the way, but we've got a number of new sponsors on board as well. Dunlop's come on board, Shark, and as well as that, we've now got speed angle involved as well, IRC tyre warmers. But the icing on the cake for us this year is scoring Gary McCoy as a coach for the kids. To get somebody of that calibre involved in the program, so passionate about what we're doing, and the opportunities that he can bring and develop with these kids. And you can see that connection already developing. So it's an amazing opportunity for them.
This year, the opportunity became available again, and I just thought, you know, what better way than come out and help these young guys and share my experience of the sport to them. There's so many things they need to learn in this sport to, you know, go places. You know, whether it's riding the bike, whether it's off track, training, nutrition. You know, there's kids here that I'm coaching now that are unbelievably fast, you know, and some of them have got dirt bike background experience, and that definitely helps a little bit. Some of the other guys haven't even ridden a dirt bike, and they're just so talented and get on with the job.
So how did you get started in OJC?
Me and my dad have driven over from WA, and we're going to spend 3 months here and do the 3 rounds over here, over east. Well, my dad's been racing for 8 to 9 years now, and I've been helping him out in the pits and being his pit crew, so I've just thought, yeah, I'll give it a shot too.
It's my favourite sport or hobby that I've done of all.
And what do your friends at school think about you being a rock star motorcycle racer?
I always get messages from my mates saying how good I am.
They don't know much about it at all, but they think it's kind of scary and weird how I do this. They don't know anything about it. They think it's easy. You just sit there on a bike. No.
It's really great. These bikes are awesome, and I love the tracks and how fast the bikes go and how smooth the bikes are when you're riding.
Well, just about ready to get underway, Steve Martin, for the first of our Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup races today. Yesterday's race was an absolute cracker, and we will see Levi Russo start from pole position with Hudson Thompson and young Hunter Corney, who took victory in yesterday's race. He was second across the line, but ended up taking victory in yesterday's race. What a great start for him.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was a fantastic result to see him up there. It was also good to see Watts on that second row of the grid. He did a good job as well. Really looking forward to seeing those guys get out there in this class. I mean, we just watched that show piece, and it was just amazing, you know, to see the guys and the talent coming up, and they're all here for that passion to put it out on the track.
And I know how happy you were to see your young South Australian prodigy Cameron Rendy take victory in one of the races at the first round of the championship at Phillip Island as well. It's only his second outing in Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup. First time out was South Australia last year at the end of the season.
Absolutely. I mean, he's coming on strong, but there's a whole group of good young kids out there that are going to be in this one, so really looking forward to seeing them. And like we just said, you know, Kate touched on it there with you know, Gary McCoy teaching these guys. It's going to be fantastic.
And I think it's especially good when the youngest rider on the grid actually takes victory in yesterday's first race as well. As we can see, aerial shot there of Queensland Raceway, the riders pulling up onto the grid, getting ready to start this first race on today's program. It is their second race for the weekend. So the red lights are on. We're ready to go racing. Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup is go. A lot of R15 front wheels well and truly in the air there as the field gets away down towards turn 1 for the first time. And it looks like it's bike number 72, Levi Russo, our pole sitter, that will lead them into turn 1 for the first time. Hunter Corney was in there as well. As we said, youngest rider in the field. He's still 10 years old. Of course, it's for 11 to 16-year-old, Steve. He doesn't turn 11 for a month or so yet, and took a victory in yesterday's race. That's a great start for him.
Oh, fantastic start for him to be out there and do what he's done. But he's going to be up against it. One thing that this Queensland Raceway does, Phil, is it makes for very close racing. I don't think we're going to see too many people run away in this one. It's going to be braking after braking down these big, long straights into Ducati corner. They go for the first time, and you can just see how close it is. 10 lines into that corner.
Well, the other thing that amazed me yesterday watching it was how close they were all racing together, but how the racing was safe. There was only a couple of people actually ran off the track. I don't think there was any crashes in the lead group as well, which was amazing considering how close they were as they make their way down this Dunlop straight now and into the first of the two left-handers. You spoke about it in your track preview that we did yesterday. that this is a very tricky part of the circuit.
Yeah, it certainly is. There's only 2 left-hand corners on this whole circuit, and especially on the first couple of laps, you've got to be super careful to keep these Dunlops get them up to temperature so that you don't lose the front. Everyone through that time, and that just shows you how experienced these young guys already are.
Oh, Hudson Thompson up the inside there on bike number 41, getting the better of Harrison Watts. He's run wide now, and I think Harrison Watts will be back into the lead on board bike number 14 as they make their way down the Motul and My Bike Motorcycle Insurance straight for the first time. As they come to the line, I think that is Harrison Watts on board 14 that leads. Hudson Thompson in second place, and your man Cameron Rendy in third. Tieran Fleming on board bike number 34. I reckon he's a Kevin Schwartz fan in fourth place. And Marcus Hamod, who's doing double duty this weekend, along like a lot of these guys in Supersport 300 and R3 Cup. How many laps of Queensland Raceway will he have done by the end of this weekend?
Well, he's only going to care about 3 or 4 of those, and that's the ones that get him the result at the end of the weekend, and hopefully he can get a win at least in one of those classes. But the more laps, the better for these young guys. But look how close it is there. Just saw Harrison Watts and Hudson Thompson side by side as they head into that braking area again. And up the inside goes Cameron Rendo and takes the lead.
Yep, they've big white helmet there. You can see, well, the helmets look so big on them because most of the riders are so small. But a great out-braking manoeuvre, but use of the slipstream and then the out-braking manoeuvre down there into turn 3. One of the, well, that's one of the places where you're on the brakes for the longest here at Queensland Raceway as the pack reshuffles now as they make their way down the Dunlop Straight and into turn 4 this weekend, Honda Corner. And it looks like it is still Cameron Rendy that's holding them out. Hudson Thompson doing well, but also Ryan Larkin well placed. But you have a look at yesterday's race winner, Hunter Corney. He's back in 9th position, but certainly not out of the equation. The lead group would be, what's that, Steve? Probably about 8 or 9 riders. The last one in that lead group was Hunter Corney on board bike number 40.
Yeah, Ryan Larkin's right up there now too. Ran a little bit wide there, just let Harrison Watts, I think it is, just back through the lead, but side by side they go again. The most important thing in this race, remember it's 6 laps long, is you want to stay in that lead group and keep that slipstream up. You can see Tieran Fleming at the back there, just hanging on to that lead group.
Looks like Hunter Corney may have just dropped back a fraction. As if someone had a big miss or a big moment into turn 1 on that occasion as he went through Alpinestars corner.
You've got to be so precise out there, Phil. It's all about placement on these bikes, trying to keep that mid-corner speed up. Maybe just have another look there as we dive into that Alpinestars turn 1 there. Just up the inside, it's your man, Tieran Fleming, Kevin Schwartz fan, just trying to dive up the inside there. Keeps it nice and clean, though.
Well, these bikes are going to be more affected by the bumps than anything else because they're so light. Down the inside, it is Hudson Thompson on board bike number 41. Well, that's a surname that we're well used to in this championship. The Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup coming down the Dunlop Straight now. Looks like that lead group may have expanded to one more rider that's managed to make his way across into this lead group. Through Honda Corner we go. A few more positions being shuffled back there in 2nd and 3rd. Hudson Thompson's dropped back to 4th place. He's now back up to 2nd. Cameron Rendy's up and down like a yo-yo in that group as well. Sam Drain on board bike number 7. Keep your eye out for him as well, the younger brother of Tom, who came through the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup a couple of years ago. And there's Tieran Fleming up the inside on board bike number 34, moves up to 3rd place.
Hunter Corney still just at the back of that group at the moment. Of course, he's had some good success already. He'll be probably getting a little bit nervous now as we head through this laps, just to see, you know, if he can hang on to the back of the group.
That's half race distance, 3 laps completed now of the 6-lap race distance. Back into the lead goes Hudson Thompson on board bike number 41. He actually came across the line in 1st place yesterday, but was relegated. I think he was given a 1-second penalty for a riding infringement during the race. That dropped him from 1st back to 8th or 9th position, Steve. That shows you how close this class is.
Yeah, you don't want a 1-second penalty in this class because it definitely can take a toll on your positions. It's all, as you can see, very, very close. And you really do have to just, like, keep your mind on placement on the track, try and be as smooth as you can, but it's all about keeping the throttle open in this class because literally they're 150cc, they don't have a lot of horsepower, so the more that you can keep the throttle open, the earlier you can get on the throttle. It's not really even about drive grip, it's about corner speed and keeping that throttle open.
You can see Ryan Larkin there use the slipstream to perfection down the long back straight through Suzuki and into Ducati corner. to go into the lead. But I think there may have been another lead change as they make their way through Honda Corner and now through Yamaha. Well, there's one rider off the circuit. That's Tyrrell Fleming, bike number 34. He's off the circuit at the turn 4-5 area. Honda and Yamaha literally is taken as one big sweeping corner, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is, but it's a little bit tricky because the Honda turn 4, it's not a 90-degree corner. It's actually tighter than 90 degrees, so it is easy to go in there and run wide. You can just see there, he's just tapped the back of one of the guys in front. So unfortunately for him, he's got to regather himself.
Yeah, great vision there on the AMX Superstores replay as we go back to live action now. And it is bike number 68, Ryan Larkin, back into the lead. Thompson in second. Cameron Rendy doing a great job there in third. It's hard to believe those other guys, Ryan Larkin, Hudson Thompson, have been riding this championship. I think they all did the full season last year. But Cameron Rendy, this is only his third outing in the Blue Crew OCeania Junior Cup. He seems to have come to terms with the R15 incredibly well. But then again, Steve, as we've discussed before, he does come from pretty good pedigree.
Yeah, absolutely right. But just remember that those other guys, Ryan Larkin and the likes that did ride last year, they didn't actually get a lot of racing due to the situation with the COVID and that. So everyone's fairly fresh in this class.
Cameron Rendy took the lead for a moment until Ryan Larkin came sidling up the inside, almost at the apex of the corner. Look how close these 6 riders are now as they make their way down the Dunlop straight and into a Honda Corner.
Even on these bikes, you could see there Rendy just moving his line quite quickly. Even that takes pace off the bike. You've got to be so smooth to keep that rolling speed up and get in that slipstream. It's all about the slipstream as well in this class. The straights are obviously, you spend a lot more time on the straights here, so if you can get in a good slipstream, you can pass 3 or 4 guys in one hit. So if you're 4th or 5th on the last lap, that's not a bad position to be in.
Well, Ryan Larkin has done something that is not seen very often in this class, and that is made a break. It's only a couple of bike lengths at the moment, but he's made a break over Hudson Thompson and Cameron Rendy, who's now fallen into the clutches of Harrison Watts and Levi Russo as they come out onto the Motul My Bike Insurance start-finish straight. Come across the line. Let's have a look at the lap times on that last lap. A 36.1 for Ryan Larkin, a 36.3 for Hudson Thompson, 36.3 also for Harrison Watts. Everyone else is back into the high 36s. Still the fastest lap of the race was Levi Russo that was done on lap 4, a 1:36 flat.
Yeah, so some pretty good times, not near their qualifying times. They were doing 35s in qualifying, but nevertheless, still 36 is pretty fast on one of these bikes around the circuit.
And of course, it's the first time the Blue Crew OCeania Junior Cup has been here. It's the first time ASBK has been to Queensland Raceway for 8 years. And a lot of the younger riders, apart from the riders in Superbike, have never actually even been here before.
No, absolutely. And, I mean, just once again, they're all diving in there. They're all looking fairly clean. I mean, Garrett McCoy, you've got to say, has done a pretty good job at teaching these guys how to save their energy on a motorcycle, and that's what they're doing. They're just like keeping their elbows tucked in, trying to be economical on the bike as well. It's only a short race, but every minimal movement you do, the bike will go faster.
Well, only a couple of corners to go now. There's only 6 corners here at Queensland Raceway. They're coming out of the final corner, Yamaha corner now on the last lap of the race as they come up towards the last corner. We saw that Ryan Larkin had made a bit of a break only 1 lap ago.
Harrison Watts.
Bike number 14, Harrison Watts is into the lead. No, it's bike number 13's gone down. That's Marcus Hamad. Looks like he's taken 72. Levi Russo out as well. So those riders won't be finishing the race. The riders will be coming out onto the start-finish straight now to come to the checkered flag. And leaning on each other. Is that bike number 14? I think it was Harrison Watts and Ryan Larkin came together. I think Cameron Renday may have even got to the line first as they come across the line. He did, Steve. He's been credited with the race win on the CompuTime timing monitor by an extremely small margin of 0.051 of a second. Ryan Larkin in second place and Harrison Watts in third. Looks like they're still trying to extricate Marcus Hamad, I think that is, from the machine down there at the the entry to turn 6, the final corner.
Yeah, he's just got his, there he is, he's all...
Let's have a look now on the AMX Superstores replay. You can see, that gap just closed where Hamad was trying to get into. And you can see there, he's caught in Levi Russo's machine. But yeah, the gap that he was going for, just all of a sudden, shut very, very quickly.
Well, that's what happens on the last corner, on the last lap. It's always going to be tight. Unfortunately for him, that's all over. The checkered flag's out, and that one's finished.
So, but just, the discussion between yourself and Chris Vermeulen earlier on this weekend was late braking or acceleration out of that corner, and we saw then the braking was very, very important. We'll come back on the other side of this break. Continuing action here from Queensland Raceway, the second round of the 2022 My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships presented by Motul.
Specialists. It's all in the name. We understand how important your motorcycle is to you, and because of this, we strive to provide peace of mind cover for you and your motorcycle, no matter where your bike takes you. Visit the My Bike website for a quick and easy quote, or call the My Bike insurance team on 1300 780 446 today.
For us, the journey is not about the destination. The journey starts long before we hit the road. The gear we wear, the way it feels, and the safety it brings. Some say the journey never ends, but it has to start. Start your journey with AMX Superstores. Why? Because we ride too. Enjoy the journey with AMX Superstores.
Welcome back to Queensland Raceway, the second round of the 2022 My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships presented by Motul. We've just seen the first race on today's program. It's now time to welcome Chris Vermeulen to today's telecast and head down to him in the pits.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. Well, yeah, I'm down here at Queensland Raceway. I've got Troy Herfoss beside me at the moment. But I've got to say, first of all, it's a unique situation, this paddock. The pit lane is right over there. Trucks in the middle. You can see there, guys. And then the garages are completely over this side. So a lot of work for the mechanics, a lot of walking. Do you have to walk backwards and forwards a bit as a way out?
Yeah, they sort of give it to me like, you know, you could stay here, but we'd really appreciate it if you just walk over there. And, okay, I guess I can do that.
So you're not the important one. But more importantly, Troy, ninth position, not where you want to be on the grid, but I know you had some issues yesterday. Feel better in warm-up this morning?
Yeah, I feel really good. Like from Friday morning, I felt like we did make a huge step. I'm feeling like I can race the bike now, and I'm really excited about getting out there in a race situation because I think I'm going to learn a lot. I'm just a couple of tenths in race pace off, but I haven't got in behind anyone yet and got in that bubble. And as you know, at a track like this, it's going to help. So we're pretty excited.
We're looking forward to a good race. We think the track's going to make for good racing as well. I know you've won plenty of races in the past. Everywhere you've won championships, so I want to see you back at the top.
Yeah, I want to be there, Chris. Thanks though, mate.
No worries. Good luck. Keep coming with me, guys. We've got a bit more to show down here. There's Anthony West, a former MotoGP racer. This is sort of the business end of the garages, I guess you could say. And then we've got BMW. Next garage just up here. We got Glenn Allerton in that garage, probably one of the most senior riders in the paddock, but he was the former record holder. As Phil and Steve were saying earlier, no one's been here for 8 years, so the guy knows his way around here quite a few years ago. So yeah, we're at sort of the business end, I guess you could say, of the Australian Superbike garages here. This is where all the action's happening before the races, and yeah, as you can see, the mechanics there, they were getting ready for everything to go. So fingers crossed. I can't wait for some racing action.
Yeah, so Steve and I are in the same boat as there as well, Chris, and it's good to see the Michelin Supersport riders heading out on track now. We've seen the championships so close so far this year. Bit of a change too, Steve, because the rider that took victory in the first two races of the championship at the first round, Phillip Island, only a couple of weeks ago, has now headed off overseas, getting ready to race in the Spanish CEV Moto2 Championship. But a man that took, one of the biggest saves away from the first round of the championship was the man that also qualified on pole position yesterday, Tom Edwards.
Yeah, true. I mean, Senna Agis is obviously not here. We haven't seen Honda win for a long time. But, you know, that was the case at Phillip Island, proving that the new bike with the modifications is definitely capable of winning. So can't wait to get this bike happening, this race happening.
Well, Michelin Supersport coming up next. Before that, a short break and then back here to Queensland Raceway for more action from round 2 of the championship.
Carving through twisties. Nailing the perfect landing. Leaning into every corner. Losing yourself on the open road. There's no feeling like it. The howl of the wind in your ears. Feeling every vibration. Every inch of the tarmac. Just right.
This engine has had a paradigm shift to achieve a totally new mission.
AMMF can help power your passion. We offer flexible, tailored finance solutions to motorcycle and marine customers Australia-wide. Our motorcycle and marine specialists can help you finance your motorcycle, scooter, personal watercraft or boat package with quick and easy approvals, fixed rate terms, flexible finance options and competitive rates. Call AMMF on 1300 263 123 or visit the website today.
Welcome back to Queensland Raceway in the second round of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships presented by Motul. The Michelin Supersport riders are out on their sighting lap. Pit lane has, is about to close in 1 minute. Steve, the anticipation is ramping up. I think it might be time to hear from Chris.
Paul's here.
Yeah, if he comes.
Yeah, guys, I'm down on the grid. I can tell you the sun is out. It's perfect conditions, to be honest. The wind's died right down. I'm here with the main man from Dunlop, Robbie Bugden, guys to race against. What's the track temperature at the moment, Rob?
We're sitting at about 32 degrees, but as you say, the conditions are beautiful. Sun's out, light breeze. This is perfect conditions to go racing.
And is that going to affect anything with your tyres? Anything's happened over the weekend, or you race distance? Everything's going to be fine at that temperature?
Yeah, we've done some long distance runs. We're really happy with the performance of the tyre. We're still setting fast laps right at the end of our stint, so longevity's not going to be a problem, but the racing's going to be close. There's plenty of guys who are going fast. So, look, it's going to be entertaining. Looking forward to seeing it.
It's good to see some different tyre manufacturers up there. Pirelli probably dominate in this championship, but there is a Dunlop on pole position. So, it's going to be interesting, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And we also saw Michelin took the round win at the first round. So, yeah, that tyre war in Supersport is very, very interesting this year.
Oh, it's alive, and it's good to see. I mean, a different competition, obviously, at different tracks. Different rubber is suiting the tracks and rider combinations with bikes. You know, it's good to see this class being mixed up. And, you know, we're getting a few different winners, and, you know, young Johnny Littress is coming through now as well. He's right up there as well. Good to see Ollie Simpson back in the class too, up there. And, you know, when we were out on track over the, you know, Friday and Saturday, we had a real good time watching these guys.
We certainly did. Back down to Chris on the grid.
Yeah, guys, I'm here with the pole man. Who else to get, right? Tommy Edwards, fantastic lap, new lap record. I know the bikes haven't been here for a few years, but you must be pretty pumped to be in pole position and be going so fast.
Yeah, for sure, you know, and I felt really comfortable doing it yesterday, so really confident for the race, and it's always a bonus starting from first.
Do you get nervous when you're in this position, or are you more confident, like, knowing that you're the quickest guy out there?
I think it's, for sure, you're still nervous, you know, the boys behind you are still going to be fast, but, I mean, it's always great starting from first.
Are you enjoying the track here at Queensland Raceway? Is it what you expected? Is it going to make close racing? Where's the main areas that you need to protect or to make passes?
Yeah, I think it'll be some great racing, you know, real heavy braking, obviously a lot of passing opportunities with a lot of long straights, so should be a good race.
Well, we're going to enjoy it. Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys, we're going to keep going down the grid. We've got Ollie Simpson here in second place, another guy that's had a lot of international experience. Ollie, great to see you back in Australia, competitive in 600 Supersport. How are you feeling coming into this one?
Sorry, mate, I'm not Ollie.
Sorry. How was qualifying anyway?
Yeah, it was good, mate. You know, just had you know, just kept trying to I used the tyre in the first one, and then didn't really do anything in the second qualifying, and just saved tyres, and, you know, just kind of relaxed. But yeah.
And the track itself, did the conditions feel good in warm up this morning? Like the bike, the setup is you ready for everything?
Yeah, I think we're all good. Bike feels good, track feels good. I'm keen, yeah.
Well, we wish you all the best. Good luck. We keep walking, guys. We're going to go down the grid here. As you can see, a lot of action going on. Fantastic atmosphere. I think you know, everybody's a little bit nervous. You can see a lot of the riders out there getting quite excited, but yeah, great conditions, ready for racing. So I'll throw it back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. And the front row of the grid, you were speaking about it before, Steve, that two of the guys that we actually noticed when we went out and had a look at the track on Friday afternoon that impressed us so much. Johnny Littress, he's a Queenslander, you know, but he's never been running at the front of this field. So great to see him up there on the front row of the grid. But also Ollie Simpson, his corner entry into turn 6 on Friday afternoon was probably one of the most impressive things that I've seen this weekend. He looked so fast into the corner, just on the absolute limit, but looking completely in control at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. He did look super impressive as he headed into that turn 6, and it was really good. We don't often get out, as we have a bit of a look at Tom Bramich there, we don't often get out to have a look at these guys on track, do we? But, you know, this is anybody's race. I mean, Tommy Edwards got the pole position, but I've got to say that there's 3 or 4 guys this time out, all within that half a second range, that can take it. You've got guys like Ty Lynch, you know, qualified back a little bit, but he's still recovering slightly and getting back on top of things after that accident he had in the middle of last year. So he's improving all the time. Tom Drain's coming through. Dallas Gears found something too. So there's a whole bunch of guys that are coming back. Then we've got guys like Chris Quinn, who are back in the championship, which is good to see.
Well, Chris Quinn would probably be the only rider in this field that would have ridden at an Australian championship level at this track in Supersport.
Yeah, that is probably true. Reece Belling as well, back in the championship. He was a front runner in the past.
And he's also been in this championship for so many years, and said first time he's ever been here to Queensland Raceway. He was starting to get the hang of the circuit, loving it. The other guy I think we should probably keep our eye on, Jack Hyde, on board bike number 28. He's back on the second row of the grid, but he has only qualified 1/10 of a second behind Ollie Simpson, who was so impressive on Friday. And it's interesting that, now, we saw Michelin win the first round of the championship with Senna Adjus. Tommy Edwards was going well on the Dunlops, and the Pirelli, who have dominated this class over many, many years. Just a couple of riders now sort of seeing the other tyres starting to go well, so they're trying those other tyres and seeing how they're working for them.
Correct. And on top of that, I mean, like, if I look at fifth, Tommy Bramich, he qualified yesterday at a 1:11.9, but in this morning's warm-up, he went quicker than that. He did a 1:11.7. He was the quickest man on track. So he's also found something that seems to, be helping him out. So although there's, a little bit less than a second in that top 5 guys, I do believe that it's going to be closer than the times might predict.
And I think we know with this circuit, it's very hard to try and get away, as we've already seen with the Blue Crew OCeania Junior Cup. As we see the front row of the grid there, Tommy Edwards on board the Bike Biz machine. You won't miss that one in a hurry. It looks absolutely sensational in the gold livery. Johnny Littris, the local man, 3:08, multiple Australian dirt track and supermoto champion in second place on the grid. And, of course, Ollie Simpson on the outside of the grid. I wonder if he's still got the all-black stealth fairing on that we saw earlier on the weekend, or if he's gone for a more colourful option this weekend. Because we usually, when we think of the Simpsons, we always associate a bit of yellow is going to be in there somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I did walk into the grid, and there is that stealth black fairing you can just see there on the third bike in that screen at the back, the number 45. So he's gone black is back for this one.
And it looks like he's got a fair bit of yellow on those Ixion leathers as well as he sits there on the front row of the grid.
They're holding them for a little while, that's for sure. They'll be a bit nervous about that, these guys. They like to get those tyre warmers off and then head off on that warm-up lap because, you don't want to sit there and get those tyres to cool down, especially on that left-hand side, where we already know there's only 2 corners at this circuit.
Yeah, there's only 2 corners, and they're also right after each other. Phillip Island has the same sort of thing with only a couple of right-handed corners, but they're a fair way apart, so the tyre doesn't cool down. It's not away from the action for as long as what Chris pointed out here. It's about a minute between the right-hand side of the tyre getting actually used here at Queensland Raceway.
Scotty Nicholson, we haven't mentioned him too much, but he's doing what he does best. He always likes to nail it on the warm-up lap. We saw him do that at Phillip Island. He's doing it again here today. And, as we say every time, everyone's different, got different mentality when they head up to the grid. Some people like to just warm their brakes up. Some people like to relax. Scotty Nicholson likes to nail it to the line.
Well, and also to keep your eye on board bike number 59, Tom Drane. We've seen his younger brother Sam involved in the Blue Crew OCeania Junior Cup this morning. But Tom Drane is such a young man, but he's a multiple AMA champion. So much international experience across the entire paddock here now in the Australian Superbike Championship. It's absolutely fantastic as they come down to Pirelli Corner on this warm-up lap. This is the last corner on the circuit. Only 6 turns here at Queensland Raceway. It is possibly the hardest circuit that we go to try and find half a second if you're looking for a bit of time in your lap, because there's only 6 opportunities to try and pick it up.
You need to say 2/10 there, Phil. It's the hardest track in the world to find 2/10. That's what this track is all about.
Right, we're ready to go racing now. Michelin Supersport, race 1 for the weekend. Qualifying saw Tom Edwards, John Littris and Ollie Simpson on the front row of the grid. Second row of the grid is Jack Hyde, Tom Bramich and Scott Nicholson. Pretty healthy field. 6 rows on the grid as Tom Edwards shows that he might have a career in stunt riding as well when this race is finished. But we're ready to go racing. Michelin Supersport in the starters' hands. Supersport is go. Good start there from the front row of the grid. Looked like I think Ollie Simpson may not have got the best of jumps, but someone who has got a fantastic jump is Johnny Littris on board 308. He leads them through turn 1 for the first time. What a great start there from Littris. That's all the supermoto and also dirt track experience coming to the fore there as Ollie Simpson sighs his way through the inside of Tom Edwards to take up the running in second place as we come out onto this long back straight for the first time.
Yeah, keep an eye on Ollie Simpson. I tell you now, he is really good on the front at this circuit. He dives up the inside. It'll be interesting to see how he plays it, but it's a pretty good start for Johnny Littris down there in Ducati Corner.
Yeah, Tom Drane up into 4th place as well, getting the better of Scott Nicholson on the brakes into turn 3, the Ducati Corner, as they drive out down the Dunlop straight now for the first time. And it is Littris that has made a break at the front. Not something that we would have expected, but he's going hard from the start. He's obviously got a lot of confidence in the warmth of his tyres after that warm-up lap.
Well, look, this is the best time of the race to make the most gap that you can. Like, as everyone's getting up to speed, if you can get up to speed quick, and you can just see there Ollie Simpson diving up the inside. He looked a little bit wide there, though.
Yeah, and also I think Drain got it a bit wrong on the entry there. You can see he's run out very wide and lost a couple of positions as they make their way out onto the Motul and My Bike motorcycle insurance start finish straight for the first time. We'll just recap that top 10. It is John Littras leading from Ollie Simpson. Edwards back there in third place. So our front row have reshuffled the order, but they are still our top three. Scott Nicholson in fourth. Ty Lynch, as you predicted. Steve Martin is up there into fifth place. Bramage has slipped back to sixth. Then Drain back in seventh place, courtesy of running wide there at the first quarter. Skier, Mitch Kuhn and Jack Hyde round out the top 10.
Yeah, work to do for Bramage back there. He's certainly not where he wants to be. Scott Nicholson looking up the inside, but he goes on the outside. Works on a drive out of that corner.
I think Tom Bramage just made a big move on the brakes too to move up ahead of Ty Lynch on board bike number 85 on the entry to Ducati corner. So let's see if Tom Bramage can actually bridge that gap now to our top four, who've just managed to get away a fraction. But the man that is getting away even further at the front is Johnny Littras on board bike number 308. He has never won a Michelin Supersport race. He's won Supersport 300 and he's won R3 Cup, but he's never won on the 600 machine. And this will be a very good place for him to do it at his home circuit, a track that he's probably ridden many, many times.
Well, I'm sure he has, and it is difficult. Although it seems like a simple track, it's not that simple to get those last half a tenths out. You need to spend a bit of time here to do that. Obviously, if John Littras has done the laps around here, it's going to be a little bit of a benefit for him. But I'm a little surprised that Tommy Edwards is letting him get away as far as he has so early on.
Well, the top three we mentioned had started to get away a little bit, but look who's gone with them. The fastest man on track on the first flying lap, Scott Nicholson on board bike number 39. The blue and pink machine is on a charge now, and he's trying to find a way past our pole sitter, Tom Edwards, as they come down into Ducati corner. Can't quite get up the inside. You can see once again, Ollie Simpson is so on the edge on the brakes when he gets into those corners. His corner entry speed, very impressive.
Scott Nicholson, we've got a faller there, not sure of the number. The rider's up and okay. The bike is not going to be rejoining this race.
I think that might be John Quinn.
Yeah, okay. Unfortunately for John Quinn, he's down and out. And it also looks like Ollie Simpson's brilliant start was a little bit too brilliant because he's just got himself a jump start penalty, so he'll get a penalty for that for sure.
Yeah, if this race stays as it is now, that will take him out of the top three, as we see Tom Edwards trying to find a way past Ollie Simpson. So the rapid South Australian was a little bit too rapid at the start, but it is the New South Welshman that's trying to find a way past at the moment. Can't quite get there. Simpson's bike got a great drive out of the corner, and even with the use of the slipstream, Edwards couldn't find his way past, as once again that fast corner entry for Ollie Simpson paid dividends as he made his way down in towards turn one. This is a very tricky part of the circuit. I hadn't noticed it before, Steve, but when we were out there on our track walk, and you pointed it out too, the track really does drop away on the outside of the circuit.
Well, I noticed that when I fell off there 20 years ago. I don't want to do that again, I can tell you. But I'll tell you one guy that's really improved. Scott Nicholson's 1.3 quicker than he went in qualifying. So somehow he's gone to sleep last night and found 1.3 overnight. That's a good night's sleep.
Is it the advantage of also being in the group and having someone to drag you along as we look now? And it looks like they may have just reeled Littras back in a fraction as they make their way through Honda and Yamaha corners. The two left-handers on the circuit. If anything, the top three, or the top four, actually have closed back up again, and there's not much between them now. Look at that corner entry of Simpson there, skating on the limit of adhesion as he makes his way down and through the final corner at AMMF and out onto the Motul My Bike motorcycle insurance start finish straight. That's where Littras gets a great drive out of that corner.
The way to go fast at this track is you need to be mentally perfect. Tommy Bramage is off as well. Oh, he's just pushed it too hard there. Can't quite make out what part of the circuit that is. The bike looks okay, but he doesn't really seem to be getting back on it in a hurry.
I reckon that might have to be up there at turn 6. It is confirmed, yep, turn 6 for Tom Bramage. Just looking at the damage there to the right-hand side of the motorcycle as Simpson makes a big play for the lead. Littras, just the experience there, just let the brakes off and ran into the corner a fraction faster. He's not keen to let Ollie Simpson on 45 past as they make their way out onto Dunlop now. It is still Scott Nicholson trying to find a way past Tom Edwards as well. We are on the fifth lap of this, on the fourth lap of this race. Just having a look now as they come through that middle section of the circuit and up to this all-important final corner. It looks like Littris gets a great run through there, but Simpson's corner entry drags it all back as they come mid-corner at turn 6. But by the time they get back out onto the straight, Littris has started to pull away.
Yeah, well, Johnny Littris had really good drive out of the Yamaha corner, that last left-hander there, turn 5, and that sort of helps him. And look at the drive he gets onto the straight as well.
Edwards finds a way past Simpson as they come down in towards turn 1. At the start of this lap. This is the start of lap 6. The race journey is 14 laps. So it is Simpson that has dropped back to 3rd place, and he's now coming under a very harsh attention from Scotty Nicholson. Look at Nicholson. Look at the drive he's got out of turn 3 as they come down through Suzuki. Can he find his way past on board bike number 39? No, Ollie Simpson's too good on the brakes.
Yeah, he certainly is, and that's one of his strong points. But look at that, around the outside, you can just see that rear starting to move around. Scott Nicholson giving it everything. I think he is, once again, 11.4. He's gone quicker again. He was the fastest man on track that last time through.
Well, I think he found the bumpy line through that corner on that occasion, because he seemed to pick up every bump. He was probably a fraction off line to where he has been the last few laps, but he still made it out onto the Dunlop straight without losing too much time. But it is Edwards now closing in on Littris at the front of this race.
I reckon that Edwards is perhaps just been letting everything warm up, make sure everything's sweet, get up to speed, and he's certainly on it now, isn't he? It's going to be interesting to see what he does with Johnny Littris. But as I was going to say before, to go fast at this track, it's all about doing exactly the same thing at the same spot. Look how bumpy it is through there. That's going to lose him time.
Well, you can see Littris' suspension working absolute overtime there as he made his way through the very fast Alpinestars turn 1. Out onto the back straight we come through Michelin corner.
No point looking over your shoulder, Johnny, because here they come.
Yep, that's Edwards gone up the inside. Ollie Simpson trying to find a way past
Scott Nicholson goes
He's going to
past
get
everyone.
2 in 1. He's going to get 2 in 1. He's up into 2nd place. Littris cuts back and relegates him back to 3rd position. Oh, that was a big move from Nicholson. I think it shows that he has got a lot of pace that he just can't seem to get through to actually utilise it at the moment. But he's seen Edwards go and he realises he has to do the same as well.
I would say right now, Scott Nicholson's thinking, oh, he just runs wide again there. Just look up the inside there. Dives past both of them. I feel he thinks he's gone in a little bit too hot, but he's looking at the apex. Now he knows he's run wide on the AMX replay. But he managed to still get past Ollie Simpson.
Well, he's still sitting in 3rd place. Simpson has been relegated back to 4th. The important thing is Ollie Simpson needs to make sure that he's as far ahead of the remaining pack as he can be once that penalty is applied, to make sure he gets maximum points for the championship. But it is the fastest man in qualifying yesterday that leads this race. Tommy Edwards on board bike number 26, the Bike Biz Yamaha R6. They're all Yamaha R6s at the front. Littris doing a great job as well on his R6 bike number 308. And look at Scotty Nicholson on 39 doing a great job as well. Pulls out of the slipstream. Can he get him on the brakes now and stay on line without having to watch Littris come back up on the inside? No, he can't do it. Littris too good on the brakes.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's playing this one smart. He's just picking them off one by one. Remember that he knows how to ride a motorcycle. He was very fast. We've got another faller
That's
there.
Dalaskier.
Yeah, 86. Unfortunately, Dalaskier's gone down in the Michelin corner for him. So he's out. He's going to have to regroup for the next one.
Well, you can see there Littris hanging so far off the side of the motorcycle. I hope he's got some elbow sliders on those leathers, because he hangs right off the side of that Caboolture Yamaha. And Nicholson, I think he was a little bit too late into the corner there, and he's had to pull out, run a bit wide. Ollie Simpson's closed up onto the back of him as well.
Yeah, he does run in deep, doesn't he, the number 39?
He's pushing the Traction Control Motorsports Yamaha to the absolute limit. Simpson looks like he may have just dropped off a fraction further as they make their way out onto the straight to complete another lap. That is 8 laps down for our race leaders, so we're over half race distance now. As you can see, the stricken 86 machine of Dalaskier stranded there. Looks like between turns 1 and 2, Steve.
Yeah, well, he lost the front, I would say, going into turn 2 there, which is obviously the MA corner Michelin exit there.
So Nicholson up the inside of Littris to take up the running in 2nd place. This is a great performance from Scott Nicholson on board bike number 39. Saw him qualify on the 2nd row of the grid, but we said that he actually has a fair bit of pace this weekend. He's now displaying it there. Big move on the brakes. As we said, longest time on the brakes at any of the corners here at Queensland Raceway, from a very high top speed down to one of the slower corners.
Big slide there from Johnny Littris as well. So, you know, he's getting on that gas very, very hard, perhaps using that rear tyre a little bit more than he wants to at this point in the race.
So the top three, pretty stagnant positions over the last lap or so, but that doesn't mean there hasn't been any action because they're starting to run wide. I think the tyres are under a fair bit of pressure. The brakes are probably also starting to not be as good as what they were earlier on in the races. We see Troy Gunther there on board bike number 65, former Australian Supersport champion, doing a great job in his return to racing. I think he raced a couple of local Queensland motorcycle sportsman rounds last year on a 300, but good to see him back on a 600. And also a great job there from Jack Hyde on board bike number 28, and also Mitch Kuhn on board bike number 58. You can always expect Mitch Kuhn to be in a very fancy set of shark leathers.
Yeah, absolutely. His presentation is key. Ollie Simpson tries to dive up the inside there, couldn't make that one stick. He had a good go at it. Littrus doing everything he can now. He can just see the others eking out. Remember, this is the last spot for the podium, and I'm telling you now, Johnny Littrus doesn't want to lose that.
Well, the other thing is that probably Littrus doesn't know is that jump start penalty for Ollie Simpson. So he's fighting tooth and nail to make sure that he remains in that third position. And I think we've already discussed several times in this race about how fast Ollie Simpson's corner entry was. That shows you how desperate was to stay ahead. Oh, it looks like Simpson may have had a problem there.
Well,
he looked down at the bike, looked at maybe a false neutral or something, Steve, into that corner. Looked down at the bike and then didn't get it stopped and turned like he has been so far.
Yes,
as we see, is that Jack Hyde on board bike number 28 doing a pretty good job to pull that bike up through the gravel trap. He was involved in that battle with Troy Gunther and Mitch Kuhn.
Yeah, good to see that AMX replay. Good stuff. But this guy now, he's got a decent gap, hasn't he? The gap now is out to just 1.6, so that's a pretty safe gap. When you're going past your board and you see 1.6, you're feeling pretty comfortable.
So in second place it is Nicholson on board bike number 39. I think this would be pretty close to maybe only his first podium in the Supersport category. Of course, stepping up from Supersport 300s a couple of years ago. Good ride here too from Tom Drain on board bike number 59, the all-red machine. Another rider that's made his way through the Blue Crew OCeania Junior Cup, Supersport 300, and now going incredibly quick on a Supersport 600. And you know, it's one of those things that's the progression that Motorcycling Australia has put in place. As we see Simpson now have another attack at Johnny Littrus.
Yeah, Tom Drain, good job by him. He's already up into the top six, and you know he's got some pretty experienced guys behind him at the moment, including Troy Gunther, who knows how to ride. Mitch Kuhn is another guy who's starting to come to grips with these 600s. Remember, he was on the 300 in the 300 class a few years ago. He really is starting to come to grips with it now.
Well, Simpson having another look at Littrus there as they make their way down towards turn 2. As he comes past the Michelin signs now and out onto the Suzuki back straight. Littrus has a look over his shoulder and all he sees is the stealth black bomber with yellow highlights of Ollie Simpson.
I'll tell you what, when I look at Johnny Littrus's bike as Ollie Simpson looks to dive up the inside, he can't do it. When I look at Littrus's bike there, it's not really absorbing the bumps that well through the top end of the circuit. Like through that real fast Alpine Stars turn 1, you watch it there. It's not absorbing the bumps at all.
Well, he's got his hands full at the moment as first and second have really made a breakaway. It is Edwards leading from Nicholson. The third place battle is the one that's really getting our attention at the moment between Littrus and Simpson, two young men on a serious charge. Both riders that have got a lot of credentials there as well, and great to see them going head-to-head in this category. It's also great to see Ollie Simpson back because he was away from racetracks for a while, wasn't he, Steve, after going overseas and probably not getting the results he'd hoped for. Then he sort of disappeared from racetracks. We thought we may have lost him to other pursuits, but great to see him and also a lot of his family back here this weekend. His younger brother's racing in Supersport 300.
Yeah, I think the whole family are here racing, aren't they? They have to bring an armada of bikes, get out on track. It's a family affair now, but it looks like things might be getting serious again for him because he is super quick all of a sudden again.
Speaking of super quick, Mitch Kuhn has managed to find his way past. As speaking of finding your way past, Ollie Simpson goes past Littrus. Littrus takes the tight line, cuts back on the inside. He's done that a couple of times to people this weekend so far, and he's done it that time to Simpson as they make their way out through the very fast exit of turn 3 and down towards Honda Corner, turn 4. Back into these two left-handers as we watch now on the AMX Superstores replay. Littrus just let Simpson come up the inside there. You can see he stopped it, turned it on a tighter line and was able to drive out of there and onto Dunlop back into third place. I wouldn't say it's decided yet, though, Steve?
Oh, well, the on-track position's not decided, but whatever happens, if Johnny Littress gets across the line, he'll take that podium spot. But that doesn't mean they're not battling for glory at the moment.
So, final lap of the first race for Michelin Supersport. It is our race leader, Tom Edwards, with a 2.6-second lead over Scott Nicholson on board bike number 39. Littress and Simpson are going at it, but of course Simpson, as you very rightly pointed out, Steve, has got that jump start penalty. I don't know if Ollie Simpson's actually aware that he's got a jump start penalty the way that he's riding the wheels off this machine. Down through Ducati for the final time. He tries to go past Littress. Littress is so late on the brakes, he just can't seem to get past, and looks like he's kept that tight line as well, and looks like he'll get great drive out onto Dunlop corner as well. He has a look over his shoulder. He's got a touch of the Fabian Ferrays about him.
He certainly has. That leaves one more opportunity, but Ollie Simpson decides not to take it, sits there. It's all going to come down to that final corner.
The corner that we were watching him at on Friday afternoon, where he was so very fast on corner entry. Looks like he's got it wrong a couple of times in this race. Nothing wrong about the way Tom Edwards is riding. He will take victory, and Nicholson will take second, and Littress covers his line magnificently as they come through the final corner at AMMF and out onto the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight as Edwards takes the win ahead of Scott Nicholson on 39. Littress takes third, and fourth place Ollie Simpson. The real battle on here, that's between Ty Lynch and Tom Drain for 5th and 6th position. I think Ty Lynch, the South Australian, is going to do a great job on the 727 Motorsport machine to take out 5th place.
Yeah, what a brilliant race that was.
And I think when Ollie Simpson's penalty is applied, Steve, he will retain 4th position.
Yeah, you would say so. He's, they had a bit of a decent gap over the group, but what a race that was. I tell you what, Tommy Edwards, he'll be smiling after that one.
I tell you what, I'm smiling after seeing Tom Edwards and John Littress pull some very nice celebration wheelies down the back straight as well. Love to see a bit of exuberance like that after a solid race win and a very good podium for Littress. Great to see him get up onto the podium here at his home round. Well, confirmation of your results. It is Tom Edwards that takes the win by 3.170 seconds over Scott Nicholson and Johnny Littress rounding out the podium. Can't wait to hear from those three in just a moment. Simpson takes 4th, Ty Lynch in 5th, Tom Drain in 6th, Mitch Kuhn in 7th, Troy Gunther got up to 8th place, Chris Quinn, the most experienced man, will probably in the paddock here this weekend, in 9th position, Reece Belling in 10th, Tarbin Walker in 11th, Noel Mahon, Jack Hyde Jack Hyde didn't finish the race, he finished in the gravel trap, along with Dallas Gear, Tom Bramage and John Quinn, who also didn't complete the race. We'll hear from our top 3 in a moment, but first a short break here from Queensland Raceway.
Now, in order to celebrate Yamaha's 60th year of competing in Grand Prix, Yamaha is pleased to announce the all-new YZF R7. Here's a bike that rekindles the spirit of the TZ races from a bygone era. A machine that is affordable, accessible, and capable on both the road and the track. Resplendent in the iconic red and white colour scheme, the all-new YZF R7 evokes memories of Yamaha's legendary world champions. The new R7 offers the ultimate adrenaline rush, whether you're hustling around a closed circuit or exploring the twisties on a weekend blast. From the first twist of the throttle, you'll feel fully connected to the surface thanks to an ultra-responsive 689cc twin-cylinder engine. Pop out from behind the screen and feel the responsive, agile chassis as you tip it in. There's no better feeling. Only Yamaha has this pure race DNA, so only Yamaha can make this tribute that marks 60 years of racing and winning at the top table. All new YZF R7, celebrating 60 years of World Grand Prix racing.
To adapt to the tires, to be honest, it didn't take a crazy amount of time, you know. For sure with the Superbike the tires are softer, but in general we were able to adapt and find a great feeling, and to be honest, the difference, or the feeling difference is not so much between this and the tires we would run on a cold weekend. To be honest, it was a little harder the first laps, but I didn't know the circuit. But immediately, as soon as I was ready to push, the tires were there and ready to go immediately. Yeah, the performance has been really good overall for the amount of laps we can make and the consistent performance of the tires. I've been really surprised with this, to be able to do 40 something laps with the tires and have no issues. Still doing some of my best times at the end. So the durability is amazing.
And welcome back to Queensland Raceway. The top three from our first Michelin Supersport race are making their way back into Park Fermé. Tommy Edwards took the win, Scott Nicholson in second place, and first podium for John Littris as well on board 308. Sensational race, Steve.
Yeah, that was fantastic to see. I mean, what a way to start the day off for the 600s there. I mean, Scotty Nicholson, there's a couple of guys on that podium that are going to be pumped up for the rest of the day.
That's it. And, of course, Tom Edwards taking his first win of the year, because the first round, he was there in the second race, but Senna Adjus took 2 from 2. So, it's one of those things that it's good to see someone that's been, there or thereabouts getting back onto the top step of the podium. Time to hear from our top three with Chris Vermeulen.
Yeah, we're here with Johnny Litrus, like you said, guys. First ever podium, making a name for yourself out there. Awesome start. How was the race?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. It was a good race. Started well, but ended up sadly running out of tyre a little bit too early. But thanks to Pirelli so much, they helped me out. And that front tyre is amazing. I couldn't do the lap times I do without it. But with everyone else that helps me out, Sol Invictus Motorcycles, AGV, TCX, Peregrine Leathers, Reynolds Lending Solutions, just everyone that helps me. It's just great. Thank you.
It's great to see Queenslanders up here. You can tell from one Queenslander to another, can't you? So good luck in the next one, mate. And, I mean, what a race. We had Scotty Nicholson. I mean, you look pretty pumped up there. You made hard work for yourself, starting from the second row of the grid, but you had some speed out there.
Yeah, look, I'm not the best qualifier and never been here before, and that pace came from absolutely nowhere. But I can't thank the boys and the team enough. We've worked so hard. The Michelin tyres just gripped up. The KYT helmets and RST levers been keeping me safe this whole time, and I can't thank them enough. I'd like to thank everyone that supported me. It's amazing to be up here again, and thanks for Race Safe for fixing my body, because it's been a tough weekend.
I mean, it showed you look like you had pace then. Do you reckon you can go for the win the next one?
Oh, it's going to be tough. Tommy has some serious pace once he gets out in front, but look, I was trying then, and I'm definitely going to give it a red hot crack in the next one.
Well, good luck, mate. We wish you all the best. And talking about that, man, Tommy Edwards, get me a little bit worried at the start. It looked like, this is going to be a bit of hard work for him, but you actually set a faster lap time in that race than you did in qualifying, so speed must be there.
Yeah, for sure. I got a terrible start, did a big wheelie, but, I felt really comfortable following the boys, and I could see, I don't know if their tyre was wearing out or what happened, but they started to drop their pace a bit, so I kind of took the opportunity while I had it and tried to pull a gap, which I did, and big thanks to Dunlop and the Bike Biz and all my friends and family and my girlfriend who came along.
Wow, what an awesome podium, guys. 3 very fast young fellas, and look out for race 2. Back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. Time to have a look at the Honda highlights, Steve Martin. There you can see Tom Edwards. He didn't get the best of starts. He did do a bit of a wheelie, but he still slotted into second position as they went through turn 1 for the first time. But it was that man, John Littris, that got the early jump.
Yeah, John Littris, what a great job he did out front. He was on fire in the first half of the race. The others were playing a bit of a catch-up. But what about Scotty Nicholson? Keep an eye on him, because he was a man on a move, as was Tommy Edwards.
Yeah, he set the fastest lap of the race for a very long period of time on the first flying lap. Unfortunately, Tom Bramich's race ended in the gravel trap, but this battle between the top 4 was on in earnest, with Littris getting a little bit away, and Tom Edwards just telling the guys tuck behind me, let's go and catch him.
Ollie Simpson wanted to have a bit of a play too. Unfortunately for him, he had a jump start penalty, which would come into play at the end of the race.
You can see Edwards there using the long back straight in the slipstream to get past our early race leader, Littris. But this move from Nicholson clearly showed his intent. Littris came back on the inside, and it wasn't the first time he would do that in the race.
Jack Hyde ended up in the gravel trap, and unfortunately for him, that was his race over.
Yeah, he was in a good battle at that time too, as Simpson and Littris were disputing third position. Littris already had the upper nod, because the jump starter penalty would be applied to Ollie Simpson's time.
Ollie Simpson was diving up the inside trying to get through, but there was gaggles and races all the way through. Chris Quinn in front of this group.
Yeah, Tarbin Walker also involved in that battle as well, but it was Edwards that took the checkered flag and celebrated with a stand-up wheelie down the long back straight as he took victory for the first time this year. Well, we've said that Michelin Supersport was going to be an absolutely fantastic race, Stephen. It just lived up to those qualities that we were expecting.
Well, I think you can say that about every race that we're going to see today, Phil, because it is just the nature of this circuit. Designed by Dick Johnson. There's not a lot of twists and curves, but I'll tell you what, there's certainly a lot of overtaking to be had.
Yeah, there's plenty of opportunities, and one of the places is the end of this straight where you come out of Michelin there, along that back straight, down into Ducati corner, and as we've pointed out plenty of times, it is the period where you're on the brakes for the longest, and usually we hear the riders in all of the classes saying about how tyres are going to be the issue in the races. I don't think anyone's talking about tyres this weekend. Everyone's talking about brakes.
Absolutely. We've been talking to numerous people down in the pits in different classes that have had trouble with brakes all weekend long because of the length of time, as you said, that you're on the brakes. Not an easy problem to fix. Even in 2022, I mean, people have been having problems with brakes for many, many years. That's why in MotoGP, they've gone away from the steel brakes to carbon. But unfortunately, carbon is very, very expensive. So you won't see those sort of brakes anytime soon on a road bike or here in the Australian Superbike Championship.
Even interesting watching MotoGP qualifying and that last night. And when there was a bit of wet weather early on the weekend, and Chris Vermeulen, who's here this weekend with us, former MotoGP race winner, actually made the point that he can't believe that they're actually now able to use those carbon brakes in the wet. The technology's come on so far.
No, absolutely. I mean, I have used them before, way back when they were first introduced, and they were shocking at anything other than perfect conditions. But once you got them up to heat, pretty much it's like very light pressure on the handlebars, and they did everything that you asked for. But if you got a drizzle of rain, you had no brakes.
Time to turn our attention now to the Dunlop Supersport 300 category. Yesterday's race, 1 second separated our top six as they came across the line, and less than 2 seconds separated the top 11. So Dunlop Supersport 300, an extremely close race yesterday. Interesting to point out too, the man that starts on pole position there, Glenn Nelson on board bike number 39, he actually finished back in 6th position in the race. The race was won by James Jacobs on board his Kawasaki Ninja 400. It's been a little while since we've seen a Ninja 400 take the top step on a Supersport 300 podium.
Yeah, it was a pretty impressive race to watch too. Once again, yesterday's race was very, very close, and it could have gone any way. We didn't think that James Jacobs was going to have a chance.
No, and it was very tight, but let's have a look at that grid. Glenn Nelson, as we mentioned, starts from pole position. Cameron Dunker, who was second in the race yesterday, will start out at position number 2. Henry Snell in 3rd. Jonathan Nahles, keep your eye on him too on board bike number 20. He well and truly featured in the action. And also another one of your very rapid South Australians, or 2 of them in fact, back there on row 3, Jordan Simpson and also Sam Pizzetta.
Yeah, both of those guys are going to be in for it. Hayden Nelson's a guy that's in for a bit of a chance as well. Laura Brown, back there in 14th on row 5, but she didn't have the best of days yesterday, so let's hope that she bounces back. Teo Aksu is another guy who we've seen up near the front, so I'll be interested to see what he does.
Teo Aksu actually started from the back of the grid yesterday due to an infringement where he was relegated back to the back of the grid and ended up on the podium. That was the ride of the race for me, apart from James Jacobs' victory. But yeah, keep your eye on Teo Aksu. He's on the all-black bike and he'll be scything his way through like a stealth bomber.
Is that him there? Possibly is.
Bike number 91, so keep your eye out for Teo, who I think on the podium towards the end of last year, I think it was at the Ben Motorsport Park, was his first visit to the podium in this class, getting faster and faster, has made his way through the junior ranks, and now certainly making a name for himself in Supersport 300 as we get ready to go racing. First race of the day for Supersport 300. They had one race yesterday afternoon, and they've got one race to come later on this afternoon. One of the most exciting categories we have here at the ASBK for close racing, and so many of them involved in that top battle as the red flag leaves the front of the grid. Dunlop Supersport 300. Supersport 300 is go. Looks like Jacobs has got not the best of launches on board bike number 16 and will be swamped by the pursuing pack. It is Nelson that looks like he will lead them down in towards turn 1. Dunker in second. Coming up the inside, it was Henry Snell on board bike number 12 that got a great jump from the second row of the grid and will be sitting in third position just ahead of Jonathan Nalus on board bike number 20. So good start there for JJ.
Yesterday's winner's up there too. There he is on the number 16 machine. James Jacobs doing a great job. There's also Sam Pizzetta's in there and Hayden Nelson down there. Mitch Simpson in 10th. 3 abreast as we make our way down the back straight for the first time and into Ducati. Up into second place goes Nalus, ahead or behind Henry Snell on board bike number 12. So our top 2 on the grid are relegated back to 3rd and 4th position. But Cameron Dunker has got a great exit out of the corner, has now moved up into second position. And just a little bit of a gap now back to Jordan Simpson in 5th place. Hayden Nelson also pretty well positioned there as well. No relation to Glenn Nelson on board bike number 39. Yeah, that was a pretty impressive start by those top 4. They really did make the most of those first 2 corners to eke out that gap over James Jacobs back there in 5th position. But as you can see, the slipstream effect here doesn't take long to catch back up.
Teo Aksu already made his way up to 12th position. We haven't even finished the first lap yet, getting the better of Brody Gorwith and also young Nate O'Neill. As we come round to complete the first lap now. Cameron Dunker was signalling on his side to just tuck in behind as we try and make a grab, and at the same time Glenn Nelson went round the other side to take the lead as they come down into Alpinestars turn 1. Second place is Henry Snell, then it's Nalus in 4th place. Right behind them, James Jacobs, yesterday's race winner on board the Ninja 400, getting some great support this weekend from Carl and Matt Walters from Kawasaki Connection as he tries to get that Ninja a little bit closer to the front. But for the first time in a long while, we're actually seeing some Ninjas right up there at the front with Nalus doing a great job on bike number 20 coming up the inside of Glenn Nelson to take up the running in 3rd place. Been confirmed by race control Steve, no jump starts.
Yeah, that's good to see. That's real good to see. Cameron Dunker's up there as well. He's right up there where he needs to be. Just keeping down in the slipstream. I really do like his riding style. He's a nice little tidy rider, and he knows how to dive up the inside, and he looks like he's just done that into the Honda corner.
Yeah, he gets great support from Jamie Stouffer and Heath Griffin and all the guys at GTR Motorsports. Been doing a lot of training with Max Stouffer as well in the gym to build up his strength and fitness, and doing a great job here at the moment is Cameron Dunker, another rider that's come through the Blue Crew OCeania Junior Cup and is now up into the Supersport 300 and Yamaha R3 Cup ranks. And just getting a little bit of a lead now over the rest of the field as they come out onto the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight. But the slipstream will soon be utilised by Snell to try and gobble him up as they come down towards Alpinestars. He does just that. Oh, look, who's arrived from absolutely nowhere is Liam Waters on board bike number 181. How many positions did he make up down the start-finish straight that time? He was in 5th or 6th position as they came out onto the straight.
Well, that's in these smaller capacity classes. You're going to make up a lot of time with the slipstream, especially when you've got 3 bikes like that wide. Just look at him there. Bang, there he goes. Straight past them all. Jonathan Nalos got that beautiful slipstream, hard on the brakes. Oh, they're close there, and there goes Liam. Round the outside, he'll be pretty happy with that, to be that close to the front.
Yeah, but I think he also got caught out in track position there. He thought he was braking late for the corner. All of a sudden, there was a whole raft of bikes up the inside of him. Of course, there has been a little bit of a controversy in this class, Steve, about the use of illegal parts and everything. A lot of the riders been put on notice by the penalties handed out at the first round of the championship at Phillip Island. And a lot of riders now this weekend are expecting bikes to be taken away and scrutinised at the end of the meeting. Oh, a bit of dust on the circuit there.
No, you've got to use all the circuit, and Glenn Nelson, probably the man that initiated that, just kept that speed out of there into that final corner. It's given him a good drive, and he's got quite a decent lead at the moment.
Just looking at that, who that was going around the outside there in a pretty big move, that may have even been Sam Pizzetta. I think it was as they make their way down in towards Alpinestars again. You can see Liam Waters there just holding off Henry Snell. It was Teo Aksu moved his way up to 6th position on that lap, so we're only 3 laps into the 10-lap journey, and Teo Aksu is almost with our leading group.
Well, Jonathan Nalos is doing a good job out there, isn't he? Like, there's only a couple of Kawasaki's in the field. It was James Jacobs who's there last time out in the race yesterday, but that blue bike, number 20 there, Kawasaki mounted, doing a really good job to mix it up with all the R3 Yamahas.
Yeah, and he was 5th in yesterday's race, and I think coming into the last lap, he was much higher position than that. Just got caught out by track position on the last lap. Is that... hopefully that's not bike number 51, but I think it might be the Unitec racing machine of Sam Pizzetta.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the South Australian, he was well positioned, but I think he'll be dropping down through the timesheets now as we...
Well, you know they're young when they can't pick their bikes up, don't you?
So just having a look back through the field now, it is Pizzetta, and also Mitch Simpson is also out of this race on board bike number 60. I know he looks like he might have run off track, but he's all the way back to the back of the field. He was sitting a lot higher than that. I think he was actually ahead of Jordan Simpson as well earlier on, but he's back to 15th place now.
Yeah, that was Sam Pizzetta that crashed out. So unfortunately for him, that's his race over.
Looking back through the field there, looks like young Nate O'Neill on board 65 having a big battle with Jai Russo and also Jaden Martin. Glenn Nelson on board bike number 39 is back in the lead. That's someone crashing out.
There's three down there.
That was Waters. And also Teo Aksu on board bike number 91. I think that's the entry to turn 2. We've spoken about that, Steve, how hard that corner is to get right.
Yeah, I don't know. For 3 to go down at once, they're like that. There possibly could be.
But they had a bit of a coming together?
Well, no, I don't think they came together. It was one after the other. Perhaps the first one that went down may have dropped a little bit of something on the circuit, which has caused those 3 guys to go down. And we've got a red flag out. I think you'll find that on the Amex replay, let's just have a look there. It looks like we can't quite see in the background what's caused that, but 1's gone down, 2's gone down. They are not connected. And then the third rider, bang, down as well. So that last one was Sam Pizzetta.
Yeah, it looked like Waters was the first one to go down on board the 181.
Well, that's a shame.
But he'd been on a massive charge, hadn't he?
That's a shame.
Making his way forward.
Yeah, they're going to have to go and have a look at that part of the circuit for sure. But I would say the first guy that crashed there will for sure have dropped something on the track.
So we'll wait for word from the officials as to the length of the restart for this first of our Supersport 300 races for the day. At that stage, it was going quite swimmingly, though, for Glenn Nelson and also Cameron Dunker. But here's the incident that resulted in that red flag. You can see Waters and also Teo Aksu both crashing out.
Yeah.
Teo Aksu coming from the back of the grid on the podium yesterday, but had made his way up into that top group. I think he was up to about 5th or 6th. When that incident happened, Steve, and he was on a certain charge towards the front of the field. But the front of the field was Glenn Nelson, Cameron Dunker, and Jonathan Naylor's on board bike number 20. And then that was about the 4th, 5th, 6th sort of place that those riders crashed out of.
Just see the race safe car heading out there now. They'll have a good look at the situation when they get there, make sure that the riders are okay, and then there'll be officials to make sure that there's nothing on the track untoward. You see those big rubber marks there. Perhaps it was just the 2 guys pushing it.
Well, we'll be coming back after this short break to restart this Dunlop Supersport 300 race. Stay with us.
Tinnies, a quintessential part of Australian boating. We love them for their versatility, durability, and most importantly, for producing everlasting memories on the water. The ultimate tinny setup demands the ultimate outboard motor, and Suzuki's large range of portable and mid-size outboards are the perfect choice for the Aussie fisherman.
At My Bike Insurance, we are motorcycle specialists. It's all in the name. We understand how important your motorcycle is to you, and because of this, we strive to provide peace of mind cover for you and your motorcycle, no matter where your bike takes you. Visit the My Bike website for a quick and easy quote, or call the My Bike Insurance team on 1300 780 446 today.
For us, the journey is not about the destination. The journey starts long before we hit the road. The gear we wear, the way it feels, and the safety it brings. Some say the journey never ends, but it has to start. Start your journey with AMX Superstores. Why? Because we ride too. Enjoy the journey with AMX Superstores.
Welcome back to Queensland Raceway as we get ready for a restart in the Dunlop Supersport 300 category. We had 4 action-packed laps, Steve Martin, but unfortunately a red flag stoppage means that the riders are back onto the grid. Let's have a look at the Honda highlights of those first 4 laps. You can see yesterday's race winner, James Jacobs, on board bike number 16, didn't get the best of starts and was swamped by the field as Glenn Nelson, the pole man, tipped into turn 1 first.
Yeah, Cameron Dunker was right up there too. He got a good start, but it was a mixed up bag in the field. The first 4 guys got a little bit of a lead early on, which made it real hard for Hayden Nelson and Liam Waters to catch up.
And we were watching Teo Aksu carve his way through from the back of the field. He did it to the podium yesterday, and he was making his way up. He was 12th very early on in this race, and very soon he was into the lead group as well. But this battle at the front saw Liam Waters come from absolutely nowhere to take the lead and was instantly relegated back to 3rd place.
Absolutely. Jonathan Naylor was doing a good job up there too. Really good to see him on the Kawasaki, but then bang, this happened. 2 riders down, and unfortunately for Teo Aksu and Liam Waters, the red flag was brought out and their race was finished.
So we're getting ready for a restart now. You can see the riders taking up their positions on the grid in the order that they were classified at the end of that first 4 laps. So we will have Glenn Nelson, Cameron Dunker and Jonathan Nalos, or JJ as he likes to be known, up there on the front row of the grid. And I think you'll find that Henry Snell will be on row 2. So will James Jacobs, and also Jordan Simpson in the Battle of the Simpsons was getting the upper hand over his brother.
Looks like a big crowd gathering out there on the hill down the back straight here at this Queensland Raceway circuit. Really good to see that we've been getting good support as we head around the country. Phillip Island was an absolute cracker, wasn't it? There was a massive amount of people there coming to have a look.
It was the biggest Phillip Island crowd for a standalone ASBK meeting that I can remember in the 16-odd years that I've been associated with this championship. Absolutely fantastic it was.
You've got to say that this is a very picturesque circuit here at Queensland Raceway. Beautiful weather. You can just see the guys there as they clean that last little remnants off the track.
Just confirmed by race control that we will have 1 warm-up lap once the grid is sorted and ready to go and the track is cleared, and then we will have a 5-lap race. So we've got to try and now condense 10 laps of action, Steve, into 5, and that's exactly what we expect from Supersport 300.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of people out there in that race that are ready to rock and roll and give it their best. They'll all know that it's 5 laps now. They will have been shown that board. And that means that you cannot make a mistake. You cannot get a bad start. You have to give it everything you've got from the first lap. If you fall back a little bit, there's no chance of recovering in 5 laps.
Great to see start line Sam back on the grid. He was away at Phillip Island, had was in hospital, I think, at the exact time that Phillip Island was on. He was actually watching the round from hospital, but an ASBK grid is not an ASBK grid without start line Sam there, making sure that everything runs smoothly.
That is for sure. Good to see him back as they get ready now to take off on that warm-up lap.
Yeah, Hayden Nelson will be up onto the second row of the grid as well on board bike number 279. He was well placed when that red flag came out.
Yeah, good to see Hayden Nelson. He's certainly making his way forward in this field, working up through the places and getting stronger every time he gets out there. And Henry Snell too, like another rider that had a good start to that race. James Jacobs, though, back there on the second row of the grid, the winner from yesterday.
Well, and you've got to feel sorry for Henry Snell. He finished 0.7 behind the leader yesterday and couldn't get on the podium because it was so tightly packed in yesterday's race.
Yeah, 0.7 behind the leader in this class is probably about 10th, isn't it?
That was 4th yesterday. So just finished ahead of Jonathan Nalos as we second, just just under a second separated our top 5, and just under 2 seconds separated our top 11. And in that 11th place was the local Queenslander Nate O'Neill, riding for Team BWR this weekend. That's the same team that Troy Gunther's riding for as well. So he's got a pretty good mentor in that team, the former Australian Supersport champion.
Well, I went out the back to have a look actually to see Troy. He wasn't there when I was there, but it's a very well presented team as well. Let's hope that they continue throughout the rest of the season. I'm sure we'll see them at Morgan Park, Wakefield Park next. Hopefully they can make their way down there.
Looks like we're getting ready to head off on our one warm-up lap. So the warm-up lap has started. They'll make their way around this Queensland Raceway circuit to back to the start to get this 5-lap race underway. 6 corners, 3.13 kilometres, so I think it's just fractionally longer than Wakefield Park, but only half the amount of corners.
Yeah, it's, you know, there's not the corners, but it's definitely the excitement.
Now, I know one thing that you would like to mention, Steve Martin, is that you were doing your pillion rides here this weekend, of course, as you always do at each of the rounds. You got to take your former teammate for a pillion ride yesterday.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. We Craig Connell got him on the back of the bike and managed to get him out. We were teammates back in the Ducati days, the late 90s and the early 2000s, and we were still arguing about lines on track. I'd go to tip in, he'd try and tip me in a bit more. So it was good fun. He enjoyed it. You know, like me, he's still involved in the motorcycle industry, works for Serco Industries. One of the big players that import performance parts into this country. So it was a good reunion.
And also, you were discussing lap times. I thought you would have mentioned that.
Oh, look, his memory said, well, I was faster than him. That's the most important memory that he did have. As soon as he said that, I just blacked everything out. But no, apparently back in the day, so he said we were doing some pretty fast lap times around here, although I don't think we were doing them yesterday.
Not too up anyway. Anyway, our Dunlop Supersport 300 riders are coming back to the grid now. Just about ready to take up their positions. We'll see Glenn Nelson, Cameron Dunker and Jonathan Narlos start from the front row of the grid. Hayden Nelson, Henry Snell and James Jacobs on row 2. Jordan Simpson, Brady Gorwith and Jai Russo on row 3. So a bit of a depleted field after we've seen a few riders crash out, including South Australian Sam Pizzetta and also Tayu Aksu and also Liam Waters. Red flag leaves the front of the grid. Restart of Dunlop Supersport 300. Supersport 300 is go. Looks like a pretty good start there from Nelson on board bike number 39. He instantly held to the middle of the track to try and lead them down through turn 1 for the first time. Narlos has got a great start, so has Snell and also Nelson as they make their way safely through turn 1. Didn't look like the best of starts once again for yesterday's victor James Jacobs, though, on board bike number 16. The green Kawasaki in amongst all of the R3s, and also the blue Ninja 400 of Narlos doing a good job there, sitting in the 3rd place.
Clay Clegg just runs off the track there out of turn 2, so lose a little bit of drive there, and you can see that he lost a fair bit of drive. But Cameron Dunker takes the lead at the bottom of the hill there at Ducati Corner.
Yeah, you can see there Cameron Dunker. He's only quite short. He's able to get down right behind the screen. He's very aerodynamic down that long back straight, but he's also a demon on the brakes. That talent was identified by the likes of Jamie Stouffer, Heath Griffin, as they make their way down into turn 4. Now the Honda corner, it is Nelson back into the lead.
I'll tell you what, Nayless is good on the brakes. He really did just dive in deep there, and he's the one that's running wide out there and causing all the dust too. So keep an eye on the number 20 on a mission. Henry Snell looks for a way through.
Oh, Henry Snell was trying to go up the inside there, but thought better of it, just pulled out at the last minute. As we watch this big group of riders battling for a 3rd position, as our 2 leaders have just got away a fraction at the front. It is Dunker and Nelson. Of course, Nelson led a lot of yesterday's race, Steve, but unfortunately he was essentially mugged on the last lap and finished in 6th position. But Cameron Dunker was able to hold his position and finish in 2nd behind Jacobs.
But those 2 guys have proved again, you know what I mean, like how important and how much time you can make on the first lap. I mean, they've made about a second just about there over Jonathan Nayless and Henry Snell back there in that leading that 2nd group. so now the others have got to play catch-up, and there's not many laps to go in this one, shortened race.
Their first lap from a standing start was only 5 seconds off the fastest laps of yesterday's
Their
race.
issue there.
Yep, who was that just pulled up? I think that may have been one of the Simpsons, was it?
Could have been.
Looked like an all-black machine. Looked like more like a bike issue rather than a rider issue for sure, as Dunker goes back into the lead ahead of Nelson. Narlos makes his way past Snell up into a third place as well. Looks like fourth place could be Hayden Nelson on board bike number 279. As we
Glenn Nelson, good drive out of Yamaha there. Hard on the brakes. He got a real good drive, and that's what that makes the difference there, doesn't it, as they head into that final curve.
I love it when you can see the riders with the right action blipping the throttle as they come down into the corner. They're at the end of this very short and hectic circuit, only 6 corners, but there's no shortage of action here as Cameron Dunker slides back down the inside of Nelson again as they go through Alpinestars turn 1. Nelson comes back on the entry through Motorcycling Australia as they come out through Michelin corner now and out onto the Suzuki back straight.
Just look at him tucked in there. The number 39, Glenn Nelson, is all the way behind that screen, trying to keep Cameron Dunker behind him, but he's got the slipstream and heads down again into that turn 3, the Ducati corner on the brakes, and passes him.
Well, Glenn Nelson's probably about a foot taller than Cameron Dunker there, so as we said, Cam has no problem getting down behind the screen on that bike, gets great drive. You could see that Nelson had the bike led over so far coming through Michelin corner, his fairing was almost scraping on the ground.
Well, he did, but at the same time, he was like fully tucked in, you know what I mean, to just try and get that, keep the wind resistance down.
Full Moto3 action there from our race leader, Glenn Nelson. Henry Snell's moved up into third place, getting the better of Narlos. Hayden Nelson doing a good job as well on board the 279 machine, tucked in, trying to get the better of Narlos as they come down on the brakes. Now he goes to the outside of the circuit. James Jacobs is also putting in a good job, and Brodie Gorwith on board bike number 25. Looks like he's in that battle as well.
Yeah, James Jacobs will be thinking about the race he had yesterday. He can see the leader there. He's like literally 50 metres up the road as he goes past the number 25 of Brodie Gorwith. But he's nowhere near a win at the moment.
So he needs to try and jump onto the back of this group, but it's a fair bit of work to do. We're on lap 4 now of 5. Fastest man of the race so far is a 1:22.605 for Hayden Nelson. 185 kilometres an hour top speed, and on that lap the fastest man was 186 Jonathan Narlos, and also Brodie Gorwith on board bike number 25. So pretty much exactly the same speeds between the R3s and the Ninja 400s.
Yeah, and not only that, exactly the same speeds between the first group and the second group, which prove how important it is to make the most out of that first flying lap, which the two front guys, Cameron Dunker and Glenn Nelson, did, which is why they've got that 1 second lead. And
also, too, the fact that there's 3 riders in that second group that can utilise a little bit more slipstream advantage than the 2 riders in the lead group. So it just closes up a fraction through Yamaha Revjahart corner there at turn 5 as they come out onto the final straight and down into Pirelli. Cameron Dunker looks to me like he may have just been keeping his powder a little bit dry there, as we will get the last lap board as they come across the line here, and that's Simpson just trying to hold out. I think it was Jai Russo and also Jaden Martin on board bike number 85.
Nice dive up the inside there by Jaden Martin too on the number 85 Yamaha.
So final lap, we're going through Alpinestars corner now, and it looks like our top 2 have decided there's going to be them that will fight out for the win in this race. The real battle for third is on in earnest as well between Narlos, Snell and Nelson. But it is Nelson and Dunker that have got away from the rest of the field. As you mentioned, Steve Martin, that was all set up on the first lap of this race.
Henry Snell goes past Nayless into third position. There's an important battle in that second group as well, but it is Dunker who's leading the way at the moment.
So Dunker on that GTR Motorstars machine. Snell back up into third place now ahead of Narlos. Down through turn 3 for the final time, and we're out onto Dunlop now, coming to the 2 left-handers. Who's going to have the biggest set of brakes as we come into a Honda corner? The answer to that question is, I think it is Glenn Nelson. He's going to lead through these corners, so Dunker will have the opportunity to use the slipstream up the final straight and into Pirelli.
Super important to get the drive right there, leading into that Pirelli corner. And you can see there, Glenn Nelson, he stays out wide, leaving no opportunity. Dunker's gone super wide here.
He's going to try and do the cutback. Is he get the wide entry line and get the tight exit line and have a drag to the finish? He's into the slipstream of Nelson. The battle for third is on as well, but I think that Nelson may just hang on here. Dunker tries to utilise the slipstream. He can't do it, and he'll finish in second for the second time this weekend, but the victory goes to Glenn Nelson on board bike number 39. Great victory there for Nelson, the man that qualified on pole and didn't have the race he wanted yesterday, back into a sixth position, but he gets the best sort of revenge possible by taking victory in today's first race. Jonathan Marlis got the nod for the final place on the podium on board bike number 20, ahead of Henry Snell and Hayden Nelson. There was nothing covered those three as they crossed the line.
Yeah, what an impressive race. Glenn Nelson, what a rider. He might be taller, but he certainly knows how to tuck into that machine, doesn't he? Kawasaki on the podium too. Jonathan Naylor, he missed out yesterday, but he was there today.
Well, the important thing is it all came down to that corner that you predicted earlier on this weekend, Steve Martin, was the most important corner on this circuit, and that is the final corner, turn 6. Glenn Nelson taking the win by 0.061 of a second over Cameron Dunker and Jonathan Naylor rounding out the podium. Henry Snell, Hayden Nelson also involved in that podium battle as well. James Jacobs, yesterday's race victor, took 6th place. Brody Gorwith in 7th, Joe Russo in 8th, Mitch Simpson in 9th, Jaden Martin in 10th, and the field was rounded out by Jordan Simpson, with unfortunately Clay Clegg and Nate O'Neill finishing 2 laps behind.
Yeah, that was a pretty impressive race for sure.
Well, Honda highlights, there were plenty of them. The first jump off the line was Glenn Nelson's as he made his way down towards turn 1 for the first time, but great start from Snell on board bike number 12. Saw him try and slide up the inside of Cameron Dunker for second position.
Bit of a bobble there for Cameron Dunker, but it was Naylor as well who made his way up towards the front. Henry Snell in that group, trying to make his way forward. James Jacobs started to get towards the front of that pack and was probably feeling about this point in time that he could make an impact on the race.
Also, too, we could see Henry Snell getting the better of the brakes there ahead of Cameron Dunker. But it was Liam Waters that came from absolutely nowhere on board bike number 181 to get up into the lead group. He thought he had the lead for a moment, and unfortunately, he crashed out at only a lap or so later, and Teo Aksu went with him, resulting in a red flag.
Yeah, both of those boys, impressive job, but they weren't to be part of this restarted race. Glenn Nelson once again got the perfect start, but it was him and Dunker who made the most in the first lap.
And you can see there as they went through Alpinestars corner for the first time, as I think that was Clay Clegg running off the track there on the exit of turn 2. Glenn Nelson, Cameron Dunker did a great first lap and managed to pull away from the rest of the field. Their battle for first and second was set up on that first lap.
It absolutely was. They won the podium positions on that lap, but then it was just a matter of who was going to win the race.
Coming down into the final corner for the final time, it was Glenn Nelson that played his cards right. He took the tight entry line and was able to hold off a hard-charging Cameron Dunker to the line to take his first victory of the weekend, to go with his pole position from yesterday afternoon. And he celebrates in his AGV Jack Miller replica helmet.
As you would.
So those riders will be making their way back to Parc Fermé now as we look at the big crowd building up here at Queensland Raceway. Plenty of opportunities to get a great viewing spot around here, Stephen. One of the things I love about this circuit, and of course the next track that we go to on the ASBK calendar, Wakefield Park, is that you can see pretty much all of the circuit from anywhere on the circuit.
Absolutely. That is definitely one of the big bonuses of this particular circuit, and also Wakefield Park. The viewing and the sense of speed that you get that you don't get from watching it, at home. It's incredible when you can get up close to these bikes. You can see them in the pits, and then also have a look at them, right there at the edge of turn 6 there. We were standing there on Friday, and the bikes are braking sideways right at you.
Well, time to hear from our top 3. Chris Vermeulen's down at the AMX Superstores podium with our top 3 from Dunlop Supersport 300.
It never disappoints, does it, that 300 race? I mean, we had the red flag in the middle. Jonathan, what a drive to the line. I mean, I think it was 0.15 of a second. You got yourself on the podium. You must be very happy.
Yeah, it was a very, very tough race. At the beginning of the race, I was sitting in third, and I'm shocked. I was sitting in third. They restarted the race. Didn't know my feelings. But the restart, I got a good start. I started the ride. I figured out how to pass him and then made it happen.
It's just great to see, you know, congratulations, well done. You know, these young fellas up on the podium, you know, for the first time and enjoying the races. So good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
We saw a red flag in that race, and how did that upset you? Were you nervous for the restart on the grid for the second one, or were you focused and ready to go because you've done it many times over?
I think I was just more ready and focused. It was a really good race with Glenn, and we just managed to pull away, and it was just battle on the last lap. Unfortunately, ran wide on the exit of turn 4 and lost my run, but still happy to be back on the podium.
Well, congratulations. Good to see you here. And like you said, fantastic race with Glenn. I mean, you were a little bit dominant out there. You got a couple of ripper starts. You must be very happy with that win.
Yeah, I'm very happy. After the red flag, I knew as long as I got a good start, me and Cameron could get up and go and we can run our own race, which is what seemed to happen today and yesterday. So I'd like to thank all my sponsors, AGV, Recondi, Food Sport Boots, Dynaworks, Racer, everyone that's helping out.
Well, it's great to see, Glenn. You did a fantastic job. These are the stars of the future. We've got to remember that. And we're going from the stars of the future to the current stars. The Superbikes will be on track very soon, so enjoy that.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. Congratulations to Glenn Nelson, Cameron Dunker and Jonathan Naylor. Superbikes are getting ready to come out onto the grid. A short break and back with Superbike Race 1 for the Alpinestars Superbikes here at Queensland Raceway.
This engine has had a paradigm shift to achieve a totally new mission.
Twisties. Nailing the perfect landing. Leaning into every corner. Losing yourself on the open road. There's no feeling like it. The howl of the wind in your ears. Feeling every vibration. Every inch of the tarmac. Just right.
Let's face it, the perception is these guys have got a few loose screws.
Oh, and Bayless hit the back and way back from McKenzie. He's gone down at turn 1. Oh, no, that's the Ace Wagner getting it all wrong, and it looks like he's taken out Jack Miller as well.
But that couldn't be further from the truth. The reality is that these guys are actually highly tuned athletes. Split-second reactions are everything when races are won and lost in tenths.
This is going to be close. Comes to the inside, and Turpos gets it. He gets it by a very, very small margin.
This sport is all about mental strength. It's about putting up with adversity. It's about not giving up. The forces exerted on the body are intense. By the end of the day, it feels like you've gone 7 rounds with Mike Tyson. The end game is to win races.
Can he pull out the slipstream? I think it's going to be very close on the line. I think Herfoss got it. Herfoss managed to out-drag him to the line.
But it's Ollie Bayliss. The teenager has done it. What scenes?
Confidence has to be something that's natural. The question remains, who will come out on top in 2022?
Oh, Steve Martin, I've got goosebumps on my arms after seeing that because we're getting ready for Alpinestars Superbike. You can see the riders are making their way out onto the grid. Someone else that's out on the grid is actually Chris Vermeulen. Time to head down there to see what's happening.
Yeah, guys, best place to be, isn't it? Best seat in the house, and I'm with the pole man. This is what it looks like going down there. He's got no one in front of him. Mike Jones, you must be pretty confident here.
Yeah, definitely. Testing and has been really good leading up to this weekend. Obviously, Friday practice and then getting pole position is just, been really good for us. So definitely got the confidence up. Looking forward to getting this race done.
Well, I wish you all the best. Good luck, mate. You've got the pressure on you. Everybody, obviously, is going to be chasing that guy. And right behind him, we've got a couple of Ducatis. Now, I can tell you, it's definitely warmed up since the Supersport race here. Brian Starring just over here. Brian, not too bad at qualifying, mate. For an old fella, you're still going pretty quick around here. You must remember this place from a few years ago. But how is the track on this Duke?
Mate, the track is incredible on this Ducati. Look, I know this track sort of gets a bit of a chip from a rider's perspective because it hasn't got many corners, but it's a wild old ride out there on the Ducati, and the thing accelerates so fast, but it's really all about braking here, and you still got to be pretty handy around the 6 corners that are there. They make a pretty big difference, as you'd know, mate.
And a good start, right? That helps.
Good start is the #1 priority here. Yeah, but look, we've been quite competitive all weekend, and I think we're in a good place at the moment.
I wish you all the best. Good luck. It's going to be a good one. We got, and right behind him, Wayne Maxwell over there. Now, Wayne's quite different, his opinion of the track generally, so we'll see what he's got to say in this one. But, Wayne, front row of the grid. I know you don't really like this place, but you must be pretty happy being up here.
Yeah, I'm happy. The boys have done a sensational job. You know, it's been a big turnaround for us to get 2 bikes back on the grid after Phillip Island, so can't thank them and all of our partners that made that happen. It makes a big difference. So, when we came here, we needed both bikes, especially for Friday, as we didn't test here, so we're on the back foot a lot compared to the other guys. So, I'm pretty happy to be on the front row of the grid and had a really good warm-up.
A lot of laps around this place in the race. Are you going to be right till the end?
Yeah, I'm pretty good to the end. Yeah, I've done some long runs and stuff. I feel okay. Hopefully the forearms are up for it, and we should be pretty good, mate.
Well, you've done it before. Good luck, mate. So that's us. We're getting a wrap-up. We're getting pushed off the grid, guys. 3 minutes to go to the race start. So I'll throw it back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. And I think Wayne Maxwell made a very good point there that out of all of the riders out there on the Superbike grid, they probably had the least amount of testing. They only had a couple of sessions, a half day of testing leading into this round, whereas a lot of the Queensland teams have done a lot of riding here. This was actually the place that Brian Starring finally felt at home on that Desmo Sport Ducati after not riding a Ducati before.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could probably argue the same with Wayne down at Phillip Island. Like he gets to do plenty of laps around there too. But everywhere we go, every rider's going to have a little bit of an advantage here and an advantage there. So in the end, if you want to win this championship, you've got to like every track.
And I think that just on the screen there was a rider that we both say is going to be one to watch here this weekend. He was one to watch at Phillip Island and essentially one to watch at the end of last year as well. That is the young South Australian Arthur Cece's. But I'm interested to see also what that man can do, Troy Herfoss, because ever since that injury last year, he's been struggling to try and get back the fitness, then get the feeling. They've had a few changes, technical changes with the bike and everything that they've been trying to get their head around. They've got a very good team behind them. I don't think it'll be long before Troy Herfoss is there. They've found something this weekend as well. Troy didn't have the best of luck yesterday in qualifying too. He's back there on the grid a little bit further than what we would have expected, but it's come race time now, and Troy Herfoss is a racer, as we just saw in that pump-up package that we saw from you, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. He's, his confidence is building now, and I think that he feels that he's on the third row of the grid, not because that's where he belongs, but, they had a little bit of a brake issue in yesterday's qualifying session, and it just all went a little bit wrong, but I think that he's feeling good, and we're going to see him further up than where he qualified for sure.
Okay, only 1 minute until they head off on the warm-up lap. Just a quick mention to Josh Waters on board bike number 21. You can see him there. This will be his 120th ASBK start from the official stats of CompuTime. So congratulations to Josh Waters. Great to see him out there on the BMW, the Next Gen Motorsports Shane Kinderis racing machine. His teammate Glenn Allerton didn't have the most smooth run yesterday either. Had an engine change. They had to swap the engines over into his preferred chassis over the night, and this morning everything was going incredibly smooth for the team, and so keep your eye on Glenn Allerton as well. He will also start out of row 3 along with Troy Herfoss and Lachlan Epps.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing what Waters can do too, because he's right up there in the qualifying on the BMW. Haven't talked much about him over the weekend, but he's one of the guys that has been right up there with the pace. So be looking forward to seeing what Josh Waters can do in this one. You know, it's going to be really good. Lachlan Epps is also up there, another BMW guy. The BMWs, they're there and thereabouts, but they haven't really shown their true colours this year yet.
Also, big shout out to our 3 rookies in the championship this year. Of course, last year's reigning Supersport champion, Brock Pearson, on board bike number 4. Max Stouffer on board bike number 27, who is the official ambassador of ASBK's charity this year, and a great appointment as well. And also Chandler Cooper on board bike number 51. So they're having that little battle within battles for the rookie championship as well.
Yeah, take your hat off to Chandler Cooper and the Cooper team. They're doing a fantastic job there on the Honda, one of the only other Hondas in the field other than the factory team. So a lot to do.
Right, so we're getting ready for the first of our Alpinestars Superbike races now. Mike Jones will start from pole position on board bike number 46. He's joined there by Brian Starring on the Desmo Sport Ducati and Wayne Maxwell on the Boost Mobile Racing with K-Tech Ducati.
Crew Halliday on row 2 is going to be up for it. We saw what he could do at Phillip Island. He doesn't need to qualify on that front row to get some good results.
Yeah, Josh Waters having his 120th start in ASBK as well. And after CC's, the rapid starting South Australian, keep your eye out for him. Also keep your eye out for those 2 guys on row 3, Glenn Allerton and Troy Herfoss, desperate to get towards the front. And also the Queenslander Aidan Wagner back there on row 4. He'll be wanting to put on a good show in front of his home fans here this weekend.
Yeah, well, he's a race winner, isn't he? So starting from where he is back on the grid, you can be sure he'll let some fireworks fly to make it on to get some TV time.
Also to Ant West starting on row 5. They didn't have the best qualifying performance. We know that the Dunlops that Ant West is using are not good for one-lap pace, but they're very good over race distance. But Mike Jones will start from pole position. His home round of the championship. YRT's home round of the championship as well. His teammate Crew Halliday back there on row 2. Crew Halliday desperate to upset Mike Jones' apple cart this weekend as well. Getting ready for Alpinestars Superbike race number 1. Red flag at the front of the grid. We're ready to go racing, Steve. Red flag has left the grid. Alpinestars Superbike. Superbikes are go. Good start there from Brian Starring in the middle of the front row of the grid on board that Desmo Sport Ducati, and he will lead them down in towards turn 1. Maxwell a strong start, and also Josh Waters as well. And also Glenn Allerton up into 5th position around the outside of his teammate as they head towards turn 2 for the first time.
Yeah, that was a great start by Allerton to get right up there. But I'll tell you, Maxwell didn't get the start that he wanted. He was a little bit left off, but somehow made it up. Bo Beaton's in there too. Good to see him up there. And Herfoss, not a great start, back down the field a little bit.
He's managed to tag onto the back of Arthur CC's down the inside at turn 2 there. But Jed Metcher, big move on the brakes there, goes up the inside of Troy Herfoss as they exit and down the Dunlop straight now for the first time. It is Starring, Jones and Maxwell. But keep your eye on those BMWs, the Next Gen Motorsport BMWs of both Josh Waters and Glenn Allerton. They're looking ready to pounce.
17 laps around this track is a long, long way. I tell you now, they've got a big, big effort ahead. You cannot make a mistake. But look at Starring. He's got to stay right where he is. He's got a big field of guys behind him.
Wagner, a big move on the brakes there to go up the inside of Mark Kyoto. Looks like Jed Metcher in that battle as well.
Looks like Metcher's found something. He's definitely on his way forward in this pack.
So back to the front, it is Starring, Jones, Maxwell. Then it is the 2 BMWs of Allerton and Josh Waters. Then it's Crew Halliday putting in a big job there. That was Crew Halliday, not Jed Metcher, that was down the inside of Troy Herfoss at turn 2. Very similar liveries as Jones takes the lead now from, the Desmo Sport Ducati. But how fast is that Ducati punching out of the corner? But Mike Jones's R1, certainly no slouch, Steve.
Now, there's been talk throughout the weekend that, yeah, Jones might be fast, but he's quite weak on the brakes. That's been the talk in the paddock, but I haven't seen that so far. He looks to be pretty good on the brakes to me.
You're quite weak on the brakes because he runs into corners so fast, it looks like he hardly uses them. Good battle there between...
Oh, he's wide.
Oh, he has gone wide, and it looks like he's about to be gobbled up by Wayne Maxwell. He held no drive as they come out of Yamaha Financial Services corner and make their way down towards Pirelli for the second time. Maxwell can't quite seem to get up the inside, but look at Glenn Allerton looking very smooth there. He's had a rough weekend so far, but looking very good. Rolling thunder, Steve Martin. That's what I would describe that as the booming Ducatis, and also those cross-plane crank V4s of the cross-plane crank 4s of the Yamahas, and also the screaming 15.5, 16,000 RPM red line of those BMWs all chime in there. Look at Crew Halliday. He's pushing very hard. He's lost touch with that lead group, sitting back there in 6th position. But he's desperate to try and get up to that lead group.
Look at Allerton. Allerton has won here in the past, hasn't he? Is this the track that he won the championship at? I think it is.
And last time we were here in 2014, it was Glenn Allerton first, Mike Jones second.
Well, fantastic stuff for the BMWs out there at the moment. They're doing a good job. Mike Jones has got a lot of pressure on him. He's not going to run away with this, that's for sure. Maxwell, who says openly he doesn't like this track, sits in 3rd position, but I'm sure he'd be happy with the podium.
I actually did a pillion ride with Glenn Allerton here many, many years ago. He looks to be going a little faster now than what he was back then.
No jump start, so we're playing for keeps in this one.
Waters closing in onto the back ducktail there of his teammate Glenn Allerton.
The other unique thing about this Queensland Raceway circuit is that tyre wear doesn't really come into it. The tyres don't get a big workout, so it's all about fitness and outright speed. The lap times won't degrade over the length of the race.
Fastest man on the last lap, Crew Halliday, a 108.184. That's a new lap record. The old lap record, we knew it was going to be smashed. It was a 109.721. They were doing 7s in qualifying. So the big question is, Steve Martin, how low is that lap record going to get? At the moment, Crew Halliday takes the lap record on us with a 184, 274 kilometres an hour top speed. That looks like one of the fastest speeds out there. Actually, no, the only other one faster than that, Mark Kyoto, with 276.
Yeah, it's pretty quick from the privateer Mark Kyoto and his Yamaha. That team have done a great job at setting that bike up. But it's still Mike Jones out front, the man who's pretty much been dominant here. But one thing we saw at Phillip Island is that Crew, although he didn't have that qualifying speed and he didn't get a good start in the first race, he had a little bit of extra speed at Phillip Island than Mike Jones. So it's a catch-up game. And there's the number 25, Daniel Falzon, fresh from the marriage yesterday in South Australia. Flew back this morning, back on the track.
Yeah, that's commitment from Daniel Falzon and his team there, a family-run team. Good job to see them getting their way back here to Queensland Raceway this morning. Just having a look at the lap times too. Troy Herfoss's lap times, pretty much exactly the same as all the rest of that field. Fastest lap now, Brian Starring, a 107.885. That's getting down towards the qualifying time of a 107.897.
Yeah, it's...
Sorry, 107.673.
Well, yeah, that was... I mean, he's 2/10 off Mike Jones. Mike was consistently in qualifying doing 107.8s. He did the one lap at 107.6. So he's, you know, he can probably, if he can eke out 2 or 3 laps at this pace, he might get himself a handy little lead. He's certainly stretching the group out with the pace that he's able to carry at the moment. But it is going to be a long race for him.
On that last lap, everybody inside the top 10, except for Lachlan Epps in 9th place, set their fastest lap of the race. So they're just building and building now. The big question is, how long are the brakes going to be able to withstand this pressure, because there is a lot of pressure being applied to them at turn 3, turn 4, and also the final corner, AWMF corner, turn 6.
Well, there are quite a few things you can change with the brakes. You've got to keep the standard calipers, but you do, you can change the fluids, you can change the discs, and you can change the pads. And if you can get that combination right to suit your braking style, it will make a big difference.
Your fastest lap is Mike Jones with a 107.871, just lowering the fastest lap of the race by a couple of hundredths of a second over Brian Starring, who's hanging on in 2nd place. You can see the body attitude there of Brian Starring. Imagine the G-forces going through his arms there as they're so long and hard on the brakes on the entry into turn 3 there at Ducati Corner.
Yeah, I mean, it is quite physical. We heard Maxwell talking about the pressure on the forearms and that, but these guys also spend a lot of time ergonomically setting up these bikes. They've got a silhouette, the road bike, but they do run things like gripper pads on the tank and that to try and take those the pressure off those forearms.
Looks like, unfortunately, Matt Walters on board the Kawasaki Connection machine has had to retire. They've had brake woes all weekend. Let's hope they can get that fixed for race 2 this afternoon.
Looks like Starring is just able to hang in that, if anything, he's caught up to Mike Jones.
He just set the fastest lap of the race, a 107.861, so another couple of hundredths of a second. Shaved off the fastest lap of the race. Jones still in the 107s. Maxwell in third place, a 108.004. It's his fastest lap of the race, but unfortunately for Wayne, it's a couple of tenths slower than our 2 race leaders, Mike Jones and Brian Starring.
Jones once again just a couple of tenths ahead of Brian Starring with Maxwell there. And then look at Waters, he's managed to pull it off. Allerton's run wide, Waters is through. They're both a little wide there, but Waters wants to try and make his way forward there. He's already pulled out a slight gap on Allerton there.
Yeah, I think Josh was so hard on the brakes, had a momentarily lose of the front there, and Glenn Allerton just thought better of it to run a fraction wide, make sure that he stays in the game. And Josh Waters now up into 4th place ahead of Allerton. There's nothing between them, though.
No, what a brilliant job there by that man, Josh Waters. He's getting more confident on that BMW every single time he gets on board.
Crew Halliday closing in on them as well. Time to get a quick update from Chris Vermeulen.
Down here with Gary Crilly, the main man from Pirelli, and you've got to say most of the tyres are run on that. The track temperature now, Gary, similar to what they've had over the weekend?
Yes, it's very similar to this time yesterday, so we're around the 44, 45 degrees mark. So we can constantly run race distance at this temperature, no problem at all.
Fast lap times, though, 7.8, so happy to go with that right to the end?
I think they'll run like that. Possibly we'll see near the end. we could be a little quicker.
No pressure on you, but it's a great race at the front. Back to you guys.
This is a track where, Phil, because the tyres don't degrade, although they're doing 107.8 now, as the fuel load gets lighter, they actually could go faster towards the end of the race. And that will affect different guys differently. Like maybe Mike Jones might become stronger or he might become weaker. And to me, it looks like Brian Starring is the man on the move at the moment. Starring is looking pretty good there in second. He's closed that gap down completely now to Jones.
There was only 1/100th of a second between them on the last lap as they come across to complete another lap. It was, it was still Jones that was a fraction quicker, but there's literally nothing in it, Steve, as they come through Alpinestars corner, turn 1, and head out there to this very fast entry, long corner at turn 2, and then starts this long drive up the back straight. We saw it to Phillip Island. Ducati's had the great punch off the corners, but here at Queensland Raceway, those Yamahas look to be working an absolute treat as we see a good battle there between Jed Metcher and Ant West. The Moto Go Yamaha, the only rider in this field pretty much using the Dunlop tyres, looking like he's doing a good job at the moment.
Yeah, he's moved himself into the top 10, just in front of Metcher with QLD behind them. And, once again, Metcher and that 727 Moto crew doing a really good job bringing that brand new team in, bringing Brock Pearson on board, Paul Frees there too. A lot to learn, but they're getting better and faster every race.
And Jed Metcher's been around forever, but he's only had about 20 or so ASBK starts, but a plenty good lot of international experience.
Crew Halliday starting to close that gap down too. There's Arthur Cece's. Herfoss is also there. Herfoss is lapping at the moment at a pretty decent lap time. His fastest lap, 108.0, way quicker than his qualifying lap. So he's definitely got the speed. He just needs to be able to do it lap after lap. Big move there. Great move up the inside.
Yeah, that was Aidan Wagner on Mark Kyoto. Good to see the addicted to track rider having a good outing here. His teammate Michael Edwards a little bit further back in the field on board bike number 37. But
now, am I right in saying that Aidan Wagner's team's bikes were flooded in the floods, and he's riding a different bike here this weekend?
Yep, they had to buy Luke Johnson not riding at this route, so they've actually purchased Luke's bikes, and one of them, well, at least one of the bikes was Luke's old bike that he rode at Phillip Island. As we go back to the front now, it is the Yamaha of Mike Jones that's still holding off the Desmo Sport Ducati of Brian Starring. Then it is the Boost Mobile Racing with K-Tech machine of Wayne Maxwell. Looking like the BMWs are still holding station with Josh Waters and Glenn Allerton doing a good job. But look right behind them. It is Crew Halliday. Crew Halliday closing in on Glenn Allerton. They don't live that far apart in southwestern Sydney. They're probably not the best of friends, and I can assure you that they're going to want to finish ahead of each other.
Well, Allerton had a little bit of a front-end moment there. You could see that. So, unfortunately for Allerton there, he's just given Crew a bit of hope. Crew would have seen that. Starring's
off the track. Is that looks like it could be the final corner, turn 6? No, he's in the middle of the track now. He's got rocks and everything all over the tyres. Has made it very, very slippery for Brian Starring. So that will promote Wayne Maxwell up into a second place. Let's have a look and see if we can see what happened on the AMX Superstores replay. On the brakes into AMF corner. Looks like he may have just lost it mid-corner.
He lost the front in exactly the same spot that Glenn Allerton lost the front. Allerton saved it, but unfortunately for Starring, it's all over. Then on the AMX replay, he's tried to turn it. Something's caught the steering and locked it when he's crashed, and that's what's caused him to fall off there. Let's hope that they can clear that debris up. We keep this race going.
So it is now Jones with a very, very handy lead over Wayne Maxwell. Shows you how quickly the tables can turn in the 2022 ASBK Championship.
Especially in the championship points, because Maxwell didn't finish a race in the points at Phillip Island. He would have seen that and gone, well, thank you very much.
So Jones now with a 3.4 second lead over Maxwell, and now the battle is well and truly on between the two BMWs and Crew Halliday for the final place on the podium. We're on lap 12 of 16. Steve Martin, 4 laps to go. Jones's lead at 3.4 seconds looks pretty much invincible. But the real question is, has Josh Waters, Glenn Allerton and Crew Halliday got anything for Wayne Maxwell? There's less than a second between them.
Well, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. We did say at the start of this race, keep an eye on Josh Waters, and it's turning out to be right at the moment. But you're going to be assured that with these two guys behind, Allerton and Crew Halliday, they won't want to finish 4th and 5th and be that close. So you can assume, probably pretty correctly, that Glenn Allerton's going to have another dig.
Well, Crew Halliday came into this round second in the championship after 2 strong results at Phillip Island. Glenn Allerton didn't have the first round he would have hoped for. An ear infection meant that his balance was a little bit off. Josh Waters was there or thereabouts all weekend, so no surprise to see all of those guys at the front. Also no surprise to see Mike Jones with the form that he's shown in testing here at Queensland Raceway, and also earlier on this weekend in practice and qualifying, to be holding a very handy lead. I didn't think it would be 3.9 seconds with 2 laps to go, or 3 laps to go.
This is a dominant display by Mike Jones. I mean, you've got to remember that he hadn't ridden an R1. We've got another faller in that same spot.
I think that might be Jed Metcher. Jed Metcher on board bike number 3 is unfortunately out at turn 6.
Yeah, unfortunately for Jed, that's game over. Let's just have another quick look at that. He's tried to dive up the inside of Ant West, gone in narrow, and there's got to be some sort of bump there. Oh, he hit the debris.
Yeah, a bit of debris from Brian Starring's crash.
And unfortunately for him, wrong place, wrong time. And,
he was on the limit trying to get the better of Ant West in that ongoing battle that they'd been having for the last few corners.
Yeah. And there was nothing that he could do about that. It was just pretty much, it was what it was. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Mike Jones in the right place at the right time with a massive lead now. 4.1 seconds over Wayne Maxwell. Maxwell won't be trying to keep him up, but he will be trying to fend off Josh Waters.
Josh Waters was 1/10 of a second faster on the last lap. You can see now that distance has come right down. So the Mildura missile is on a charge, trying to get the better of the new Wollongong whiz in Wayne Maxwell. He was originally from Wollongong, lives in Melbourne now, but doing a great job at the moment to try and hold off Josh Waters. And I think, if anything, Crew Halliday has lost a little bit of distance to Glenn Allerton in that ongoing battle. Having a look at their lap times, Crew was 1/10 of a second slower on the last lap.
Yeah, it's up to Waters now to see how brave he is. Can he catch Wayne Maxwell? I'm sure that he can see him. I'm sure that he's pretty much running the same pace. And every lap that he does, remember, he's had a couple of years really of getting confidence knocked. He's getting stronger and stronger with every lap he does in that BMW. And look how close he's to the back of Maxwell now.
I reckon I can almost see the steely glaze of Josh Waters' eyes coming out from underneath that visor on his helmet as he makes his way out of turn 3. Good battle here between Lachlan Epps and Brock Pearson. Very impressive rookie Brock Pearson on board bike number 4, doing a good job to hold off Lachlan Epps, and also Bo Beaton having his second ride in 2 years on board the North Coast V Twins K-Tech machine there. Good to see Bo and his dad Ash here working on it this weekend.
Yeah, Beaton was looking like he wanted to nip up the inside there too. Had a bit of a look, not enough room left by Epps, unfortunately for him.
So look at the corner entry speed of Bo Beaton there through Yamaha corner, looking to try and set himself up for a big outbreaking manoeuvre at AWMF corner, and he does it down the inside of Epis. Good stuff there from Bo Beaton.
Yeah, so it looks like Epis has got some sort of issue there, doesn't it? He's certainly not showing the pace that he had. He's in the 111s. He's 3 seconds off the pace at the moment, so it looks like there's some sort of issue there.
Gee, I tell you what, it was a top speed battle there between, we know how rapid that BMW is, and we know how fast the V4R is of Bo Beaton. They're really going to it there down the main straight. The current lead for Mike Jones is out to 5.2 seconds over Wayne Maxwell. The gap between Wayne Maxwell and Josh Waters is down to 0.123 of a second. That is absolutely nothing as they make their way around this circuit. We're on lap 14 of, lap 15. We've completed 14 laps, and here it is. Waters right onto the back of Maxwell now. Allerton in good position as well, and Crew Halliday has closed up as well. All of them are still lapping in the mid 108s.
Yeah, Maxwell definitely not looking as comfortable mid-corner as we've seen in other circuits. He's normally can carry an incredible amount of mid-corner speed, but he's just looking not so bad in these faster corners, but in those tighter corners, I don't think he's really comfortable with the way his bike's handling.
Well, he's got about 3 kilometres he needs to hold off Waters and Allerton, as Michael Edwards does a good job there on the addicted track machine to get out of the way. I think if anything, down that back straight, they've just stretched out a fraction. Look at Allerton, late on the brakes. He closes right up onto the back of Waters. Crew Halliday trying desperately to go with them as well. There's a couple of corners to go, and it is the midfield, infield section of this circuit. The two left-handers. Can Waters come up the inside of Maxwell? No, Wayne is too late on the brakes. Allerton closes in once again as they come through Honda. Yamaha, they're going through now. There's only one corner left, Steve.
Yeah, and it looks like Josh Waters ran a little bit wide there, so I think second's probably going to be pretty safe for Wayne Maxwell. It's going to be down to the teammates, Waters and Allerton. What's going to happen there?
Well, Mike Jones comes out onto the front straight to take his first race win of the year. It looks like Maxwell is just going to hold off Waters in the battle for the podium positions. And then Glenn Allerton and Crew Halliday will round out the top 5. Nothing separated those three as they came across the line, Steve. What a great ride from Mike Jones, though. 5.6 seconds. I wouldn't have expected a win here at Queensland Raceway from Mike Jones to be that big.
You don't win by 5.6 seconds here. That was an incredible ride from Mike. He's going to be emotional. When was the last time he won a race? I reckon it was perhaps when he won the championship last year.
He didn't win any races last year. The year before, he probably would have won a race. But, it's been a little while between drinks for Mike Jones.
We saw Brian Starring and how emotional he was at Phillip Island. I bet we'll see the same this time now.
Yeah, congratulations to Mike Jones and Yamaha race team for that win, their first of the year. Takes the win by 5.67 seconds over Josh Waters and, Wayne Maxwell. Josh Waters in the final podium position. Glenn Allerton in 4th. Halliday in 5th. Herfoss in 6th. Championship points, the important part for Troy Herfoss there. CC's in 7th. West in 8th. Hayden Wagner in 9th. Marchietto rounds out the top 10. And the freshly married Daniel Falzon in the top 11 position. Brock Pearson in 12th. Plenty more action coming up here from Queensland Raceway, but first a short break.
AWMF can help power your passion. We offer flexible, tailored finance solutions to motorcycle and marine customers Australia-wide. Our motorcycle and marine specialists can help you finance your motorcycle, scooter, personal watercraft or boat package with quick and easy approvals, fixed rate terms, flexible finance options and competitive rates. Call AWMF on 1300 263 123 or visit the website today.
Tinnies, a quintessential part of Australian boating. We love them for their versatility, durability, and most importantly, for producing everlasting memories on the water. ultimate tinny setup demands the ultimate outboard motor, and Suzuki's large range of portable and mid-size outboards are the perfect choice for the Aussie fisherman.
Well, today was important to adapt these tires to the bike, because for me it was the first time to use these tires here in Portimao, and essentially was quite good. I get ready very soon on this track, so was a good day. Yeah, it comes really quick, sincerely, because these tires a bit soft, and especially I like to feel when the bike is closing, when the front is closing or this. So for this reason I adapt well. The performance is quite nice. I did 53 laps this morning, and the rear soft looks quite nice, so this is a good thing.
Welcome back to Queensland Raceway. We have just seen a sensational Alpinestars Superbike race number 1. The victor, Mad Mike Jones, on board the Yamaha racing team R1M. And do you reckon he's happy? I reckon he's pretty happy. Time to find out how happy he is. He'll be with Christopher Mullen in just a moment.
Yes, well, what a race. We saw it. I mean, Josh Waters, pretty spectacular. All weekend you've been pretty strong, but first podium, mate, on the BMW, you must be pumped.
Yeah, over the moon. So, I've got to say a huge thanks to the Next Gen Maxima Motorsport team that have given me the chance to race again and be competitive. All my personal sponsors, my crew, my brother Brody, and this weekend, Weddy, Paul Grant Mitchell. So Shane's been fantastic. Glenn's been helping out wherever he can. So yeah, it was good to have both the bikes up there.
The bike looks really strong too, so you reckon you can go one or two steps higher for the next one?
There's for sure things that we can work on to improve the bike, and it was actually good riding around with the other guys to see where there was parts where I thought I was slow but I'm actually quick, and then there's parts where I really need to improve.
Oh, good luck in the next race, Josh. It's great to see him out. He gets a lot of support here at Queensland Raceway, and he said to me before, he said first podium in a while. I forgot what it feels like, but one guy that does know, he's done a bit of winning recently. Second place there. I know you'll be happy for the championship, but you can't be happy letting one of your rivals get 5 seconds in front of you.
No, definitely not. It's just the effects, obviously, of not having the testing time here, having 40 minutes or whatever we had. So look, it's no excuse. My guy's done a fantastic job. It's a long championship. It's my worst track with no testing, and that's the result. It's not too bad. We'll take it.
So, any changes for the next one?
Yeah, need to change a little bit, just a transition from the braking to getting back to the throttle. I'm just not that good in that area. On the close on the brake, on the upright braking, and on the way in, just a transition, I was losing too much. And Mike was so good in turn 2 there, so yeah, it's going to be, don't know if we can solve that one that quickly.
Well, we'll see how you go in the next one. We look forward to it. It was a great race, and obviously the Queensland man, the home hero, Mike Jones, first win on the Yamaha. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, it's just so exciting to get this first win done with Yamaha, and it's quite surprising for me that it's come so early, but just a hard work from the team and my crew, and obviously the Yamaha R1M is just a really great bike to ride.
I know you were confident with your pace this weekend, but on the grid there, I could tell there were a few nerves, and you thought Brian Starring was going to be one of your main competitors, but to win by over 5 seconds, does it take the pressure off for race 2?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I definitely was nervous on the start of the race. There's a lot of pressure there. You're starting from pole, you're expected to win. Home crowds here, family and friends and stuff. I want to do the best job I can, and I want to come away with a win. So, for sure, getting that one done does ease the pressure a little bit. I know my pace, and doing that full race run, then I know what I've got for the next one.
Well, it was impressive to see, guys. He was so smooth, consistent. The laps kept going. So. Yeah, I thought it was an impressive race, but race 2's coming up. The temperature could go up. Things could happen different, but, who knows? Let's wait and see. That's the exciting thing about Superbike and having 2 races in the day. So, fingers crossed. I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. We can't wait either. Let's have a look at the Honda highlights now of that race. And weren't there some, Steve? A great start from Brian Starring. He led them down to turn 1 for the first time, but it was Wayne Maxwell and Mike Jones that were there as well. But also a great start from Josh Waters and Glenn Allerton.
Yeah, there was a great gaggle of guys. It looked like it was going to be a pretty close race. Jed mentioned was getting into it, but look at Jones. He was really on the throttle early out of that turn 2, giving it everything he had, and he eked away from the field. Starring tried to go with him. He did the best he could. He was there. I'm thinking he was feeling pretty relaxed, but as we know, later on, that wasn't to be.
Yeah, Josh Waters got past his teammate Glenn Allerton down into that heavy braking area at Ducati corner. And the two Maxima next-gen motorsport machines look very handy, but unfortunately Brian Starring, who was holding down second position, lost the front, and then unfortunately when he tried to get back on track, looked like something had compromised the steering, and he went down again. That was the end of his race.
Absolutely. Back in the pack, it was Jed Metcher and Ant West having shenanigans, and unfortunately for Jed, it ended too soon.
Yeah, big move on the brakes here from Bo Beaton to go up the inside of Lachlan Eppes to go further forward one position on that North Coast V-Twins K-Tech Ducati V4R.
Those guys were battling all the way through this race. Beaton working his way forward, and unfortunately it seemed like there was problems for Eppes.
On the last lap, though, it was Wayne Maxwell trying to hold out a hard-charging Josh Waters, Glenn Allerton and Crew Halliday as they all made their way down into Ducati corner, but they couldn't get anywhere near this man. Mike Jones took the win by over 5 seconds. I have to say, we didn't predict that, Steve, but we did predict that Mike Jones would be the one to beat here at Queensland Raceway. All right, so the sighting lap has started for the Yamaha Finance R3 Cup. Making their way out onto the track. A majority of these riders have already been out on track this morning in the Dunlop Supersport 300 class. A couple of them have changed motorcycles, and now they're out there in the R3 Cup.
Yeah, it's going to be a real exciting race. As you said, many of these guys, Cameron Dunker's out there, Sam Pizzetta, Liam Waters is back in this one too. Hayden Nelson's out there. Glenn Nelson, we've seen how fast he can be as well. So it's going to be a real exciting race. These guys have got the blood pumping. They've had their warm-up. Most of them have had a race under their belt. So can't wait to get it underway.
So Yamaha Finance R3 Cup, yesterday's race saw Cameron Dunker take the win. He's also been second in 2 Supersport 300 races so far this weekend. So it's been a pretty good start for the young man from the Hunter Valley. He's been doing a lot of training with Max Stouffer, who of course racing in Superbike, was just out there in that first Alpinestars Superbike race. Making their way down through Pirelli Corner now, the scene of much action already this weekend, Steve, as we get ready for the Yamaha Finance R3 Cup riders to take up their position on the grid. Hopefully Teo Aksu has been able to repair his bike after that earlier crash in the Dunlop Supersport 300, and will take up his position on the grid as well. On board bike number 91, was on the podium yesterday. Had 2 podiums yesterday, one in Supersport 300, one in R3 Cup. Sam Pizzetta looks like not much damage to his bike from that earlier crash. He's out there on board bike number 51 as well. He was 6th in yesterday's race. And good to see the Unitech Racing team getting the younger rider in there to learn and be mentored by Arthur Ceces, who I've got to say has improved out of sight over the last couple of years on board that Yamaha R1.
Absolutely. Unitech have put a big effort into the Australian Superbike Championship. It's good to have them as one of the major privateer teams, and supporting Arthur. We all know that he's a bit of a legend, and won't be long we'll be seeing him on the podium, I reckon.
So heading off now on the final warm-up lap for the Supersport 300. Looked like a bit of a depleted grid there. I'd say we must have lost a few riders.
No, absolutely.
Well, actually, no, half of them are starting from pit lane.
Well, they've missed the pit opening time. That's the issue they've got there. So now, normally, perhaps they'll be let out now. That could be the case. Well, they're going to be let out after the race start, which means half the field's going to have a race in 2 halves.
It looks like they're there. They may be not taking up their proper grid position. We'll have to see. But anyway, the grid should be Cameron Dunker, Glenn Nelson and Marcus Hamod on the front row of the grid. Mitchell Simpson back for another race today. Liam Waters, hopefully his bike's repaired. That was a big crash for him in the first race for Dunlop Supersport 300 this morning.
Yeah, him and Teo Aksu, they sort of like had a tandem off, didn't they? So it'd be interesting to see how that is. Let's see what Laura Brown's, if she can get herself out there too. We haven't heard much from her this weekend. I know she had an issue earlier on in the weekend, but we didn't even mention her last time out.
Also, young Nate O'Neill on board bike number 65, the Team BWR, who have got Troy Gunther in the Michelin Supersport category. So 2 young Queenslanders there doing pretty good work. I think Troy Gunther would be happy that we called him a young Queenslander.
Well, he is still a young Queenslander. He started young and finished young, but he's back. So, unfortunately for us oldies, he's still young.
And then both bikes have got the same numbers on them. Hopefully he'll get on the right bike and not jump on Nate O'Neill's 300 when he comes out to race Michelin Supersport later on this afternoon.
Well, I'm sure I think he's been at university, so I think he's actually pretty smart.
Okay, coming around to take up their positions on the grid. Great shots there of Queensland Raceway. As you can see, undergoing a lot of upgrading and renovations here under new ownership, Steve, which is great to see. A lot of investment being poured into this circuit.
Yep, Tony Quinn has taken the ownership over here, and you can see those pit boxes being built. Can't wait to get back here next year. It's just going to be a completely different place. I think they're building another roof, another level on the control box as well.
Yeah, viewing platform there, ready to go. But Yamaha Finance R3 Cup getting ready for race number 2 of the weekend. R3 Cup is go. Looked like a pretty good start there from Glenn Nelson on board bike number 39, but he tucks in behind the fast-starting Cameron Dunker on board bike number 3 as they make their way down towards turn 1 for the first time. It is Hamad that will slot into second place on board bike number 13. Mitch Simpson also looked like he got a pretty good start as well on board bike number 66.
But the man out in front again is Cameron Dunker. He's always up there. He's good off the start. I'll tell you what, Glenn Nelson nips up the inside. Interesting to see what he can do there. Down at the back, Jay Martin there, Joe Russo as well, Clay Fleck, 63. Remember, he ran off the track earlier today. I bet he won't make that mistake again.
Yeah, looks like he's got away well as they make their way down to Ducati for the first time. Pizzetta, well placed on board bike number 51 as well in third. But it is Glenn Nelson that is fighting for the lead at the moment. We've already seen Glenn Nelson and Cameron Dunker go head-to-head several times this weekend, and it looks like normal service has been resumed at the front of the R3 Cup.
Absolutely. It's 3 and 2, 1 at the front of the field there, and it does go. Glenn Nelson still leading from Cameron Dunker. No, Cameron Dunker's shot back past.
Well, when they were on the podium last time, we said that Glenn Nelson was probably about a foot taller than Cameron Dunker. I think it might even be more than that as they make their way down to Pirelli now. It is still Pizzetta in third place. Looks like Hayden Nelson well positioned there behind Henry Snell as well. Henry Snell has been fast. He was fast at the last round at Phillip Island too, wasn't he, Steve? So he's carried that good form from Phillip Island on here to Queensland Raceway. Two very, very different circuits.
Looks like the Unitech rider on the number 51 machine slots into third position with Henry Snell. Bit of a movement on the front wheel there from Snell.
Oh, looks like Snell's got the better of Pizzetta there on the exit of Alpinestars turn 1. As we come round through this very fast turn 3. Oh, Snell's run a fraction wide. He's going to use a bit of the ripple strip there. He's going to compromise his drive out down this long straight. Slipstream will be utilised by Nelson and also Simpson, I'd say. And it looks like our top two, once again, have just managed to pull out a couple of bike lengths distance, but the pursuing pack make it up on the brakes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all very close up the front. We've got no idea who can win this one at the moment. It could even be, like you say, Simpson back there. Mitch Simpson in 6th position at the moment.
Well, Marcus Hamad has dropped back to 7th position on board bike number 13. So I'm not sure what happened there, but 7th position is about the back of that lead pack.
Well, we heard Waters talking about it in his interview, and it's like literally when you're in a group like this, oh, we've got a big crash.
That's Nate O'Neill on board bike number 65. Unfortunately, looks like he's given the Recondi Leathers a bit of a work out there, crashing his Yamaha R3.
Well, we heard Waters talking about it before. Like when you're in a group like this, you can actually go, okay, I'm actually fast here or slow there. As we have a look at the AMX replay, he's just gone in way too hard into Honda corner there and lost the front, remembering there's only 2 left-handers on this circuit, and bang, it was all out for him.
Yeah, it looks like Team BWR has a little bit of work to do to get that R3 ready for the remaining races this afternoon for both Supersport 300 and Yamaha Finance R3 Cup. It is Glenn Nelson that leads, though, from Dunker. Good ride here once again from Snell. Pizzetta in 4th, and it's Nelson, that's Hayden Nelson back there in 5th position, and Mitch Simpson looked like he's doing a great job here on board bike number 66 to hang on as well. We've already seen a couple of rapid performances from Simpsons this weekend. Good to see the other brothers getting in on the action.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't want to go home with one brother just winning a trophy, do you? You want to have at least 2 or 3 in the car on the way home. Good drive back to Adelaide for those guys.
Less arguments that way.
Well, yeah, more. It's a happier drive if everyone wins a trophy. But at the moment, out front, as they break into that tight first left-hander.
That's Henry Snell.
Yep, Henry Snell takes the lead.
Well, that's that lead would be Snell approved, that's for sure, as he makes his way out onto the final little straight now. The shortest of the straights here at Queensland Raceway, and it's Dunker that comes up the inside, goes from third into first. He's a demon on the brakes, is young Cameron Dunker. And as we mentioned earlier on in the Supersport 300 race, Steve, he still gets great support from Heath and Jamie and the boys from GTR Motorstars, who he was riding for last year. Even though that team officially now is just racing in Superbike, they're still giving him plenty of support as Snell goes back into the lead.
With Pizzetta behind him, but up the inside goes Glenn Nelson again, straight back past Pizzetta, just dives up the inside.
Well, it was round here that we were so impressed with Glenn Nelson going through that latter part of turn 2 in a full tuck. It looked like he was actually not into the tuckers early then as what he has been on some other laps, and slipstream being utilised here by all of the riders. I expect that Snell will be swamped as they come down into the braking area. No, he manages to hold everybody off except Cameron Dunker. Nelson goes back to the inside. He had the wide entry. Oh, narrow exit. How's the bumps there? And the bike's trying to ride over those bumps. Looked like poor old Glenn Nelson's bike was airborne in a couple of occasions.
Yeah, absolutely. On the limit there. Mitch Simpson just sat at the back of that pack. Not a lot he can do at the moment. He's trying to think of a way through, but he's pretty much just joining on the back of that group, trying to think of a way to get through, but I don't think that he can see anything apparent at the moment. I don't think he's just sitting there. I'm sure he'd be wanting to get up there.
Well, Snell sitting there in third place is still the fastest rider in this race with a 1:22.859. And just to give you an idea, that's about probably 0.4 of a second off the fastest lap from yesterday's race, which was Cameron Dunker's, Glenn Nelson's 1:22.381. As Dunker goes back into the lead, Nelson in second. Looked like Snell had a late approach there into the corner and managed to hold down third place.
You've got to be so careful into that turn 1 as well. Like, if you drive in too hard, you end up wide. If you chop your throttle for like 1/10 of a second, then 3 or 4 guys will nip up the inside of you. You really do have to judge it perfectly.
Nelson utilising the slipstream there to go past Cameron Dunker on the brakes. Dunker tries to come back on the brakes as they make their way down into Ducati corner. Turn 3.
Yeah,
Dunker doesn't have any,
We'll look at the
problem getting in behind that.
Look at the size difference between those two guys. I mean, Glenn Nelson's not big, do you know what I mean? But Dunker's tiny. And, Glenn Nelson, he really makes that effort to get into that tuck as soon as he can. And, he does a good job because it does give him some extra speed.
Out onto the Pirelli straight now as we come down towards Pirelli corner. It is still Dunker that holds out Nelson. Just having a look at their lap times. On the last lap, it was a 23.0 for Cameron Dunker and 22.9 for Glenn Nelson. Henry Snell also did a fast lap as well, a 23.2.
Well, Nelson's just made a good little test there. He can be behind Dunker and pull out and pass Dunker by the line. So for the last lap, we can see that may be part of the plan for Nelson.
New fastest lap in this race, a 1:22.515 for Cameron Dunker on the last lap, lap 5 of the 8-lap journey.
Big move there by Nelson. You see the smoke coming off the back there. Something grabbed the ground, maybe the edge of his boot or something, but he is, every time he tucks into that aerodynamic position, he moves around a lot on the bike, and he does it earlier than anybody else.
He's hanging look at the side of the bike, and you can see he's doing a great job to try and get as much aerodynamic efficiency you can with that rather large frame that he has there behind the very small screen of the Yamaha R3. Down into turn 4. Just looking at the rider on the back of that group, looked like he was trying to make a move there. I think that might be Mitch Simpson on board the 66 machine, trying to get past Hayden Nelson.
Yeah, Mitch is still sitting there. He's able to hang in the slipstream, but not a lot he can do. He's got Hayden Nelson just in front of him. Hayden Nelson is also sitting there. It's good to see him making his steps forward in this class too. Every time you look at him throughout the races, he's moving closer to the front.
Pretty big gap now back to Brodie Gorwith, who is the leader of the next group. They're nearly 3 seconds behind the lead group at the moment, as our lead group currently being led by Cameron Dunker, but that will change probably in a couple of corners' time. Glenn Nelson Henry Snell looking pretty strong there. Sam Pizzetta also looking very strong on board bike number 51. This is Hayden Nelson.
This is probably the best I've seen Sam Pizzetta ride, to be honest. I mean, he's really right up there this time, isn't he? Looking like he could actually go for the win.
So it is Nelson and Snell trying to sneak up the inside of Dunker, but Dunker just let the brakes off and ran in there a fraction faster to make sure that wasn't going to happen. There's the second of the Simpsons in this race, Jordan Simpson on board bike number 23, having a good battle with Hamod and Gorwith. Also, Clay Clegg, the next rider through after that, having a bit of a battle with Jonathan Naylors, who uncharacteristically is back there in 12th position.
Yeah, it's not normal for him to be back there. Obviously didn't get a good start, and if you lose that drive in that front group in this class, you're in big trouble.
Well, Nelson just manages to hold them off as we come round to get the last lap board. So 3.13 kilometres and 6 corners to go for Glenn Nelson. He finished second in yesterday's race by 0.082 of a second behind Cameron Dunker. There was probably about less than that as they went across the line. 0.01 of a second it was for Cameron Dunker and Glenn Nelson that time around.
I think we might be having a very similar finish this time around. It's going to be close between these guys. Henry Snell diving up the inside there as well.
Yesterday's race we saw Teo Aksu on the podium in third position, so we're going to have a new third place podium man in this one because it looks like it could be Snell, Pizzetta or Nelson. Oh, a bit of biffing and barging there as Pizzetta makes a charge for the podium up the inside. He's up into second position. And Nelson is back to third.
Big move there.
And Cameron Dunker is back to fifth position as they come out of Dunlop corner.
Yeah, and Hayden Nelson's moved up a spot too. So it hasn't worked out for Cameron Dunker, that's for sure. He's got a lot of work to do now. We get to the business end of this race. Up the inside goes Cameron Dunker and managed to move himself up. We've got Sam Pizzetta wide. It's Glenn Nelson who's leading now as they head down into that final Pirelli corner.
Those two corners strung together perfectly by Cameron Dunker, who's up to second position now, and he tries to get a good line on the run to the start-finish, but it's Pizzetta that looks like he's going to be in very good position as well. But Nelson leads them out onto the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight. He weaves across the line to try and take the win, and he does so ahead of Cameron Dunker, and I think Pizzetta on the podium. That could very well be his first podium in the Yamaha R3 Cup as well. So congratulations to our top three, Glenn Nelson, Cameron Dunker and Sam Pizzetta. Henry Snell only a fraction, 0.17 seconds behind Sam Pizzetta in fourth place. Hayden Nelson in fifth and Mitch Simpson in the sixth position, the first of our lead group of riders across that start-finish line. Looks like Jay Russo will take the next position, but congratulations to Glenn Nelson. Another win for the rider on board bike number 39.
Yeah, he's certainly got this track nailed, hasn't he?
And I reckon you might have said about him scraping something on his thing. I reckon that might be the edge of his boot that he's been scraping, and it's started to come apart.
It looks like there's something going on there.
So Glenn Nelson takes the win by 0.115 of a second over Cameron Dunker, and Sam Pizzetta will join them on the podium. Henry Snell in fourth, Nelson in fifth. That's Hayden Nelson, Mitch Simpson, Joe Russo, Brodie Gorwith, Marcus Hamod and Jordan Simpson rounds out the top 10 with Jonathan Naylors, Clay Clegg and Jaden Martin rounding out the field, with Nate O'Neill unfortunately crashing out, Steve.
Yep, it was not a good day for Nate O'Neill, but I'll tell you what, there's certainly some excitement in that one.
Well, let's have a look at the Honda highlights, and as they got off the line, it was a pretty good start for Cameron Dunker, but also a great start for Sam Pizzetta, who found himself up in fourth position early on in the race.
Glenn Nelson, though, what a ride he had. He's been up the front more than not. He really has been the man on the mission, the man to beat this weekend. Dunker led early on. Sam Pizzetta was there. Henry Snell made his way forward too.
As Nate O'Neill crashed out at Honda corner turn 4. Unfortunately, in the Honda highlights for all the wrong reasons, the young Queenslander, as two of the taller men in the field, Henry Snell and also Glenn Nelson, went to battle with the diminutive but very, very fast Cameron Dunker. Yeah,
Cameron Dunker doing a good job out the front there, isn't he? He's so small, but he had lots of other guys out there to battle with, including Sam Pizzetta there on the number 51, having one of the best rides we've seen him have in a long, long time.
There was nothing covered this group of 6, with Jordan Simpson in there as well on board bike number, Mitchell Simpson on board bike number 66. But it was Nelson and Cameron Dunker that were consistently at the front, with Henry Snell having guest appearances in there as well. Sam Pizzetta also doing a great job on board bike number 51 to stay with them.
Dunker looked like he was going to be in a good spot, but then he ended up back in the pack, didn't he? On the last lap, he got punched back, and we thought that was the end of him.
Well, with 3 corners to go, he was back in 5th position, but look at this. One up the inside at turn 4, then he gets another one as they come out of turn 4 when Pizzetta runs wide. He finds himself back up into 2nd position, in a position to try and fight for the lead, but unfortunately Glenn Simpson had the best run to the line, got a good drive out of the final corner and took another victory on board bike number 39. 0.115 of a second behind Cameron Dunker. Plenty more action coming up here at Queensland Raceway. We'll be back shortly.
At My Bike Insurance, we are motorcycle specialists. It's all in the name. We understand how important your motorcycle is to you, and because of this, we strive to provide peace of mind cover for you and your motorcycle, no matter where your bike takes you. Visit the My Bike website for a quick and easy quote, or call the My Bike Insurance team on 1300 780 446 today.
For us, the journey is not about the destination. The journey starts long before we hit the road. The gear we wear, the way it feels, and the safety it brings. Some say the journey never ends, but it has to start. Start your journey with AMX Superstores. Why? Because we ride too. Enjoy the journey with AMX Superstores.
Welcome back to Queensland Raceway, and plenty of action already underway here at the second round of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships presented by Motul. We're ready to hear from our top 3 from our Yamaha Finance R3 Cup. They're on the podium with Christopher Mullen.
As we know, guys, that racing is always exciting, isn't it? I mean, the bikes make it close. The young riders, they give 100%. And just talking to Sam then, his first podium. So congratulations to be up here. What a race.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic being out in the front, but no, I'd just like to thank all my friends and family for coming all the way from South Australia for my first race here. But no, I'd just like to thank the team as well, Unitech Racing, Remo Contractors, and all of my other sponsors and supporters that have helped me get here, and yeah, it's unreal.
It's so good to see. Congratulations, and good luck for the future. I'm sure it'll be the first of many. There we go. You can see the support, guys. Cameron, again, second place. You must be happy, but are you going to get that guy soon?
I mean, it was a good fight. Happy to be on the podium again and try and beat him next time. I'd just like to thank MD Steel, Dad, just everyone who helps me, RS&C, Rakondi, yeah, just everyone. Dr. Mac, Jamie Stouffer, Heath, just everyone. Thank you.
Well, some big names in there. Jamie Stouffer, ex-Australian Superbike champion, of course, so he's getting support from the right end. And Glenn, one of the tallest guys in the championship. Are you giving away a bit with like weight advantage, size? Is it hard to keep up with these the smaller ones?
Sometimes I do online cycling on Zwift to keep my weight down because, you know, power to weight ratio is very different around here, especially because they're half the size of me. But it's still working out for me, so I'm going to carry on doing it.
Well, it's obviously working. It's the second time you've been up here for Supersport 300, now for the R3 Cup, so congratulations on the win.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I'd just like to thank ART, Advanced Rider Training. Dave is here today, so I'll come see him after this, and it's going to be good.
Well, like I said before, guys, these are the stars of the future. They are getting quicker and quicker all the time, and I just love watching them race. I love the enthusiasm when they come in. They're just pumped, so it's good to see.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. Plenty more coming up today here from Queensland Raceway. Blue Crew OCeania Junior Cup Race 3 still to come, along with Michelin Supersport Race 2, Dunlop Supersport 300, their third and final race of the weekend, and of course Alpinestars Superbike race number 2. Can Mike Jones make it a double here at Queensland Raceway? Day will be rounded out by the Yamha Financial Services R3 Cup and the Horsell Australian Sidecars, their third and final race for the weekend. Of course, live stream is about to close, but if you want to take in the continuing action here, SBS, Stan Sport and Sky Sport NZ is the place that you need to go. Thanks for joining us this morning. We'll see you later on this afternoon.